What is going on, everybody? This is episode 473 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today we are joined by, what is it, Women Wednesday?
Yeah, that works for me. We could have Menstruation Monday, but the ladies
that
doesn't matter what works for you, Brett. On Women Wednesday.
As long as I'm pushing the buttons, it totally matters.
That's a little out of pocket, Brett. Anyway, firstly, Coffee Girl. Hello, Sarah.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good after that comment. You know, I'm still willing to be here on my Women Wednesdays.
A team player.
Better than my other suggestion. That's fair. And to my left,
far better.
Hello, I'm Cara. I answer your emails for timcast.com.
Actually, they both technically answer emails.
We do
right?
both,
Like,
I mean, we all answer emails, technically, but...
Their job is to
We're all
answer,
ordinary
is to
people.
answer emails. I hate email. Personally, I hate email. Like, my non-work email is like 8,000 unopened
That is
emails.
funny. That's like me. Honestly.
Like,
as it should be.
One day I just gave up. Like, because back in the day, it would have the thing where you'd get before I knew how to turn off YouTube notifications.
Right.
That you'd get in there. So it took forever.
Yeah, I used to care, and I gave up, and now I'm at like 2,000.
Yeah.
You're a lot happier when you just learn to not care. You really
True.
are.
Sure.
Yeah. So we got a bunch to talk about here today, guys. If you don't know, the new season of Rick and Morty has premiered, and it is a shit show without Justin Roiland. So we're going to get into that. We're going to maybe recap a little bit everything that happened to him before, because so many scandals happen so frequently in Hollywood that you forget, everything that goes on. So we'll get into that, how the show's failing, all that stuff. Also, we talked last week about Kat Von D, who recently converted to Christianity and got baptized.
Was that really only last week?
It was either last week, and maybe the week before, but I believe that was just last week. So we're going to talk about that because she's had some backlash from people in the religious community. So we're going to discuss it. We're also going to talk about Sssniperwolf, who is in trouble for doxing another YouTuber, as well as other creepy things, right?
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So we got that, and then also we are going to talk about the top Halloween costumes of the year. And I have a list that I found because I was wondering, what is the stuff that they don't want you to dress up as? So I looked up the list of what they consider to be the most offensive. Yeah, problematic. Remember, that's a word you don't hear as much these days. You don't hear problematic as much as you used to. But yeah, some problematic costumes, some approved costumes. I got some ideas of my own. I brainstormed just a little bit. So we're going to get into all that. We got a bunch of other stuff to talk about here today. But before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video? And would you subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here already? We are almost to 73,000 subscribers. We just passed 72,500. We want to get to 75,000 soon, so please go ahead and do that. And thank you very much. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on so you can be notified anytime a new episode goes live, and share the videos with your friends. That way more people can come in here when we're live here and hang out. Also remember, all super chats $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those super chats right then and there, and then we will get right back on topic. Perhaps you want to super chat about the poll today, which is, I asked you, who is the superior comic book hero, Batman or Spider-Man? Because those seem to be the two that everybody lists as the top of the, the cream of the crop. And I was wondering, and right now it looks like we're sitting at Batman is in the lead with 65% of the vote.
Spider-Man is for boys, Batman is for men.
There you go. That was very
the
good.
difference.
So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get into a lot of other stuff. So if you ladies are ready, we will get going. Are you ready, Cara?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I am.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go ahead and do this. All right, first things first. Mary had some very strong opinions on what was going on with the Avatar casting.
I just don't think anything animated needs a live action remake, period, but this is no exception. Daniel Day Kim has been cast in the last Airbender series. Good choice. Uncle Iroh looks fine, but Azula has been cast terribly here.
Well,
this
first,
girl,
let's go through. Daniel Day Kim looks great.
Yeah, he does. And the costuming looks good.
Yep.
Like, that's fine. Uncle Iroh looks fine. Okay.
This is where you had the problem.
She is supposed to be a villain, and she looks like a baby. In what way is this person supposed to be intimidating or villainous?
Why do you
or
think that is?
scary in any way? She looks like a baby.
Adorable baby face.
Yeah.
Baby face killer.
And then Zuko as well is supposed to be a villain, at least for the first half of the series. And once again, baby face. doesn't look intimidating at all. And his scar is way smaller than it was in the cartoon, which was a criticism of the M. Night Shyamalan movie as well.
I do love how Hollywood doesn't like to actually mess with people's faces. Where they're like, oh my God, they're so disfigured.
Yeah.
And it's like the scar is in like the most out of place area. Like that, I mentioned before, they made this really, really bad like live action Beauty and the Beast cop show starring Christine Cruick and this guy who's supposed to be the Beast. And he's got like a scar on his face, but he's just a super handsome dude. He's got a scar.
The scar
in an
makes him
out of the
more
way place
handsome.
that doesn't make him any less handsome. It just looks like he got in a workplace accident. So he's also hyper masculine. You know, very, very hard to call that beastly when the guy's still like a normal looking dude, right?
This is supposed to be like a disfiguring burn on on half of his face, and it looks like he got a black eye. It's just not working. It's not giving what it was supposed to give.
I thought the costuming was better on. Did anybody here watch the Marco Polo show on Netflix?
No.
I did watch some of it,
There
actually.
was great costuming on that show. It looked really,
Yeah.
really good. It was beautifully shot. That was what I thought of. Like, it was better than what I'm seeing here. But then again, you're also seeing it. These are still photos. It'll look different in
Maybe
practice.
they're made by AI. Like, who knows?
That's very possible, right?
I just know that anyone who criticizes the casting for this show is going to get called racist, and it's also tiresome.
Yeah.
This show is going to be bad. Like, I'm very confident. I'm going to watch it, and if I'm pleasantly surprised, we'll see.
But also,
But-
like, they'll be like, look, anything's better than the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, but like at that point, he made a bad movie. We decided like, let's not adapt this any further. Like, learn your lesson the first time. Right?
Yeah. It's Netflix, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's already going to suck. It's Netflix. That's what people expect.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think the costuming was too bad, but again, like not as somebody who isn't intimately familiar with the source material. I get your complaint here because you look at the pictures of the character and it's just vastly different.
Yeah.
Structure wise, but
I mean, they obviously changed her skin tone,
I mean, they
but
like,
and her entire facial structure, like, it's too much.
And Netflix has a lot to live up to because One Piece has gotten great reviews from both critics and fans. So that sets like the new bar for where they need to go with, you know, strongly held source material that people feel passionately about. And my guess is that this will not have that same effect.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
we'll see. Okay, guys, Britney Spears is at it again. She's dancing with knives again.
Yes.
She just, it's weird, right?
Spooky.
It's weird. And it's in the same outfit.
Any bandages?
No,
on the
no
same
bandages
day.
this time. But I figured she's excising the demons from like everything that came out yesterday, right? Which was the stuff about. Did you guys see this about Justin Timberlake and her? And
No, I
Yeah.
actually have gone out of my way to tune
To
Britney
not-
Spears out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said you
It was a-
used to follow her, and now you just
Yeah, it was a big cathartic moment when I unfollowed her.
like, you
Less
felt lighter.
stress, yeah.
You felt like instantly lighter, not
Yeah,
having to deal
yeah.
with the stress of like all the chaos that goes on in her life.
Yes.
Well, she revealed. Did you see this? That she revealed
Yeah.
yesterday that they had an abortion when she
Oh,
was
wow.
just
19.
19.
Wow.
I didn't think that was news, though. I thought that like was talked about a while ago when it happened.
The cheating stuff
No.
was talked about.
Yeah.
That they both cheated on each other.
I
was
mean,
talked
he
about.
did with Crimea River. He did try to make her out to be the bad guy, right? And I think they were both at fault here.
Yeah.
Right. The narrative was she cheated on me, but he didn't say, finish the sentence and say, oh, but I cheated on her too.
I've learned my lesson. It's more enigma
man.
or like more music that's going to get us copyrighted. So I'm.
We can't hear the clashing of the knives,
Bummer.
unfortunately.
of the fake knives.
Supposedly fake knives.
Yeah.
Because,
Okay.
you know.
She seems like the
nothing
type
new.
of person who just shoots a lot of content in one day and then releases
Yeah,
it. Like,
exactly.
She
months
got a lot of
later.
it's all scheduled release dates.
Yeah.
Like she's just like actually that'd be actually really interesting. You find out later it's like it takes a lot of organization to look this chaotic.
Yeah. She has a whole team of employees. I'm
Like
sure they're-
she's like I got a release date here,
Their
here,
content
here, and
sacking
here.
for her.
Like that's not a bad idea. Like something could go wrong. I don't care if the knife is fake.
my
You could end up
the spinning
really,
is insane.
Yeah, could really poke your eye out doing that.
And we wonder why Sam left.
Yeah.
He
Sam's
woke up to this one
Sam's
day
like,
and was
look,
like-
I couldn't sleep. It was the clanking of the knives. I was trying to sleep at night, and she would just keep clanking the knives together, and I couldn't take it anymore. I'm sorry. I had to go. I have to work out in the morning. He's like a fitness trainer, right? He's like a fitness guy.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I
Yeah.
got to get out early. I got to get my workout in. It's impossible to do that when you're up late at night clanking the knives. It just doesn't work. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
All right. J.K. Rowling is also being J.K. Rowling, as she usually is. Mary, what did you say earlier? You said these people are just boring. But it's true, right?
Right.
They're going
Like,
to do the same thing over
We
and
get
over
it,
again.
J.K. Rowling. Like, you aren't a fan of the transgender movement. Neither
Right.
am I, but I don't
Yeah.
get clout for it.
Mary's
not
actually
fair.
just jealous. Mary just wishes that she
J.K.
could-
Rowling gets all this praise and adulation because she doesn't like the trans movement. Meanwhile, me over here,
I'm doing it for free, she says.
yeah, I'm putting in the work, and I don't get any of the same
Twice
response.
the work and half the recognition.
Yeah,
There's-
it's just not fair.
There's a fame
So-
wage gap
Yeah.
there somewhere of some sort. That's not fair to Mary.
unfair.
And I-
It's just like she thinks she's the most important person in the world. It's just like, yes, we get it. You have a boilerplate correct take on one issue.
You wrote Harry Potter. Big deal.
Yeah, and you wrote Harry
Seriously,
Potter.
I haven't read that. One person says, I'll never read any of your books, and I never will. Well, of course not, right? Like,
can't
if
even
made
read.
if you made it this long without
Yeah.
reading them, I guess
I mean, me too, though.
Yeah.
Because I just am not interested.
Yeah. So she's, I mean, I think it's just like, an instinct now. She sees any type of post, and she just feels like she has to respond.
That Twitter ad revenue.
Yes. That's
always
another
sweet
thing, right?
revenue.
Like, there's just too much sweet ad revenue to be made.
Even though she's already a billionaire.
He's like, take it from somebody who's got enough. There's no such thing as having enough. That's what
I
she said. That's
guess.
what she would say in that situation. But yeah, you know, that's a lot of people
Do you
like
think her
her.
friends call her JK? Like, hey, JK, want to go get drinks?
I don't think so.
What do they
I
call
like the
her?
idea.
What does
Don't know what
JK
her
stand for?
I have no idea. I've never thought
I
about
like
it.
the idea
Is
that
she-
she goes by her like pen name from her other series, Robert Galbraith.
They're like, hey,
Her friends call her
Robert, want to go
Robbie.
get Margs?
Oh.
Margs and chill?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Wait, her
more.
pen name is a man's name?
Yes.
So she's a trans
Her-
pen.
She's technically
her name
trans.
is?
her
Oh my.
when she writes
Oh.
her detective novel series, the Cormoran Strike book, she goes under Robert Galbraith.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. A little
Her
bit
first name
critical.
is Joanne.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the K stands for.
Yep.
But
Oh, we got a $20 here from the Crisis Tastic. Says tryptophan. Do you guys respond to tryptophan at the holidays? My dad makes a big deal every time.
really.
Every,
What is
every
that?
time Thanksgiving. It's an
the
ingredient in
sleepy.
turkey.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a chemical in turkey. So every time we would eat Thanksgiving dinner, my dad would make jokes about tryptophan because it supposedly makes you tired.
Ah,
It's the
okay.
stuff that makes you
Yeah.
really, really
It's like
tired.
a natural occurring chemical?
Yes, in the
Okay.
Yeah.
But
so-
if you eat a lot of anything, you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you stuff yourself with cornbread and, I don't know, sweet potato mush and turkey. Like, you can't just blame the turkey.
Somebody also posted the other day, like calling me out with like it's like the picky eater at Thanksgiving starter pack, and it was like rolls, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, and I was like, yeah, so
Is that you?
And what? Like, because they tagged me because they know that I'm the picky eater. I'm like, and your point. And like that looks like a feast to me. And then Dane had to come in, and he's like, he's not a kid, he's old as F. And I was like, listen, bro, that's not very nice. It's very rude. I don't.
Being
I don't
a
like
picky
it.
eater is cringe.
I'm
Sorry.
not cringe. I refuse. I don't admit that.
No,
I
but
don't
it like
accept
it
that.
is,
No,
even though you don't accept
no,
it. Like
no,
that's the truth.
Wrong.
You only eat sides, basically?
Yeah.
I eat the turkey. I don't eat turkey leftovers. I'll eat it first go round.
Oh, no, that's just
I
high
don't eat ham.
maintenance.
I don't eat ham. I don't like ham.
It's just high maintenance.
Sounds like
It's not cringe. I refuse to
No,
admit
it
that.
is.
Nope,
It
it's
is.
not. Wrong. All right. We had this thing from Logan Paul. He said, right? So
He
let's.
says he's going to be apologizing to his fiancee Nina Agdal for the rest of his life.
Here we go.
Lied in the build-up.
It's
when I
giving
said,
Will Smith.
I didn't regret choosing him as a partner.
Why do you regret it?
I'm eternally sorry for Nina. I'll spend the rest of my life apologizing if I have to for putting her through that kind of torment. It's inhumane what he did, and she'll hold him accountable. But this is my life. I dragged her into this social media fight bullshit. She did not sign up for this. I mean, she did, of course, but she didn't know, and neither did I. I don't think anyone knew the extent to which he would take things.
Doesn't that make it not his fault?
Fight
if he didn't know.
Organization or promotion has ever seen this type of buildup. This is gnarly. Lied in the build.
Yeah. This is Will Smith apologizing to Jada Smith for Chris Rock making a joke about her alopecia.
Oof.
Very likely true. And she'll use it. She'll hold it over.
She has leverage forever.
Yep.
She's like, it's like, did you ever see that meme of the guy who like punched an alligator to save his wife's he beat up a shark to save his wife?
Whoa.
And then the first
Face?
response on Twitter is just like, I would be bringing this up every time we fought.
Oh, yeah.
Like, look, I beat up a shark to save you. Okay, you don't get to win this argument.
Kind of a solid argument.
Yeah, so he's like, look, you could say anything you want, but you wouldn't
But
be
then
here.
she's gonna rewrite history and be like, that shark was swimming away anyway. You just wanted people to think you were a hero.
Evil women, man. Evil women. That is
I
an
respect
evil thing
him
to
for
do.
saying that.
Yeah.
But what she's gonna do with it is she's gonna twist it and run with it, probably.
How so? She's like, you're right. You are violent, aren't you?
Yeah, she's probably gonna be like, "Oh, you should have known, and you dragged me into this, and this is your fight." And
I didn't want to go
blah,
out
blah,
on the
blah.
ocean that day
Yeah.
anyway.
No, not
Brett,
I'm talking
the
about
fight.
Logan Paul.
Dylan Dennis. You know, the thing that we were talking about.
Go on.
That
You
too,
okay?
Yeah,
that too.
I'm fixing the crisis.
Oh, what's wrong with it?
Nothing.
Okay.
We're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
she'll use it
Yeah.
against him and stuff like that in the future. It figures.
Yeah,
Women.
absolutely.
They haven't
Right.
gotten married yet, though. So.
Oh, I thought they did. Didn't they just? They didn't just have a ceremony, or when
They
is
did?
it?
I thought they were still engaged. I
I don't think
haven't
they're
seen
married.
them. Yeah.
Okay,
They haven't gotten
I might be
married
thinking
yet.
of another.
Or
couple.
no, maybe they did. No, you could be right.
I think
You
I
could-
saw photos of them like she was in a wedding dress.
Unless
I'm
really?
thinking of
yeah, you
another
could be
famous
right.
couple that
Yeah.
just got
It
married.
all got overshadowed by the fact that all the stuff that was going on. At the
Well,
fight.
I only wonder because Dylan Dennis, after the fight, said you should call off the wedding, as if the wedding hadn't happened yet. So maybe he missed that too.
Yep. All right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if he'll be fine from this. Like, he's going to go on. He's going to keep doing his WWE thing. He offered 10% to the people who were victims of Crypto Zoo.
What about the victims of cyberbullying?
That's a very good question, Mary. That's a very good question. Also, Kendall Jenner. This is really, really creepy. Did you see this? Facebook made like a meta of Kendall Jenner and called it Billy.
I've seen that.
It's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
weird.
they're theoretically denying that it was based on Kendall Jenner, right?
Yeah, it looks just like her.
Yeah, because if they admitted that it was based on her, they would have to pay her, right?
Yeah.
Because she's
Hey
technically
guys,
doing
it's
an
Billy.
advertisement.
I just want to
for them.
introduce myself. I am here to chat whenever you want. Message me for any advice. I am ready to talk, and I hope to talk to you soon.
She even sounds like Kendall Jenner.
Yeah, the
That's so
voice is
much.
the same.
Is it? I don't know what Kendall
That
Jenner
looks-
sounds like. So
Just like that. She's
Is
got
it?
a deeper
Yeah.
voice, yeah.
they're like, look, they could have named her like Wendell Jenner, and like, look, we have no idea it was gonna look like you. It's just Wendell. You know.
How
Yeah.
is that not her?
Kendall needs
guess-
to sue.
It's,
Yeah,
and I suppose these types of things will become more and more common, right? Well, they'll make
Oh, wait.
bots of things that look like someone.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
this
so
was
crazy.
already approved. It says
from her.
this is part of a recent initiative by Meta in which they're paying celebrities millions of dollars for their likenesses so they can create AI assistants to connect with their audience. So Tom Brady and Paris Hilton are among the other celebrities that they are paying.
I saw
This
the
is
Tom
like
Brady.
something that they've approved for their likeness to be used this way.
Well, now and like it's so weird to see it for like the bigger celebrities who don't necessarily need it. Like I wonder how much they're getting paid because like we did the story about the OnlyFans model who had made a chat bot of herself, right? And
Well, she
then-
denies that there is a chatbot.
Yeah.
She says it's her.
But there was another person that did it as well, and like you understand where that revenue comes from, right? Because that's a good way to supplement your income. I just can't imagine that the celebrities need to do that at that pay grade to have your likeness out
Yeah,
there to
it's,
be
it's
manipulated.
absolutely not necessary.
No.
It's not like they're living paycheck to paycheck and they need that extra income to scrape by. Like Paris Hilton said, her goal is to just be a billionaire. Like I think some people are just kind of
Is
addicted
she not
to
yet?
that game.
I
or
thought
that
she already
chase.
was.
Let
I
me
kind of
look
like
it
that.
up.
She's
really
like, look, I don't
close,
really
huh?
want to do anything with my life. I just want to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Wow, she's actually only worth 300 million according to the internet.
She's like, look, I just want to fake DJ, and that's it.
She's everywhere.
Ever seen those videos of her? Like, whenever she's DJing, I'm like, is she really doing anything there? Like, it doesn't actually look
She
like she's
doesn't
doing
need
anything.
to. Like, realistically, it's just a paid celebrity like appearance.
Wait,
It just
okay.
looks like she's dancing around and like kind of tapping buttons.
Paris Hilton's grandfather was reportedly so ashamed of his granddaughter's antics that in 2007 he adjusted the terms of his will to leave 97% of his $4.5 billion fortune to charity instead of his family.
Okay.
But if she's worth 300 million, I think she'll be just fine.
We would hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Oh, guys, you'll love this story right here. So, the director of Love Actually, Richard Curtis, he's very ashamed of the fat jokes that were in the movie because you can't have anything nice anymore.
Okay, the worst part of this is that it was his own daughter that went to him and said he can't do fat jokes anymore. He can't make offensive jokes in his movies anymore. He also made Bridget Jones' Diary, Notting Hill, other like rom-coms like that. And one day she came up to him and just said, "You can't say the word fat ever again."
And it was his own daughter that said this.
Yeah,
Because
and,
the roles have been reversed.
She did an interview with him recently at some film festival where she just eviscerated his entire career. And I was
gosh.
like, reading this, like, put this brat in her place. Like, she's literally living off of the money you made from making these
Speaking
movies
of
that people
writing
love.
people
Those
out
fat
of
jokes
their
paid for your
inheritance.
college education.
Yeah, so then he said, wow, you were right. In my generation, calling someone chubby was funny. In Love Actually, there were jokes about that. Those jokes aren't funny any longer. And since when,
They are definitely
by the
still
way?
funny. I make fat jokes about myself on a regular basis, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
It's also just realistic, especially for Bridget Jones' Diary, that you have a female character that's insecure about her looks.
Yeah.
Right.
That would describe like 95% of females out there. Like, that's just reality, and they made jokes about it.
Right.
And she had to gain weight for that role.
And she couldn't put on the weight.
Does every chubby or fat character have to love the fact that they're fat? Because that's just not the way reality works.
And oddly enough, like, body dysmorphia is worse now than it's ever been in culture, thanks to the internet.
For a woman to be fat, or really anybody, like, that's something that decreases your quality of life. It makes you miserable and changes the way that other people treat you. Whether or not we like acknowledging that is a different story, but like, why would we have to live in a pretend world every time we watch a movie where every fat character just loves the fact that they're fat? Like, that's just not reality. That's not what people live and experience.
And that's why the movies don't connect, because the reasons that we connect with movies is because there is a subtle reality that you find that your brain connects with when you're watching it, which is what makes it feel authentic. It's like the jokes themselves, whatever you think of the jokes, movies had a way of like acknowledging the fact that our worst impulses towards humor are just they're entertaining. And that's unfortunately a fact of life, and you can't really fake that. You can pretend like inclusivity at all times, without exception, is something that resonates with people, but it really doesn't, because that's just not the way the world works, which is why when they try to implement those types of scenes in movies, it tends to fall flat, because it's not the actual human experience that most people live. Maybe it is for them. I'd argue that if you grow up in a Hollywood bubble, you're probably going to meet even more fake people than your average person will meet on a daily basis, right? Like, more people that are going to tell you what they think they need to tell you, or, you know, they're going to say whatever it is that's expedient to, you know, leverage whatever they can get from you. But like like a lot of people are self-deprecating, right? That's not an uncommon thing. And it's a fact of life. And that's real. And what's real works in movies, which is why these scenes work. And that's not even, and that's even, I think, giving it more credence than more credit than it needs. Sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes jokes are just funny.
Yeah. This is also, sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, it's not like because someone's fat, they're like shoving him to the ground and degrading him for being fat. Like, it's not like that. And if I remember correctly, in Bridget Jones's Diary, the whole point is that she's chubby and she was self-conscious about it, but she was liked in spite of it. Like, people didn't wouldn't care as much as she thought that they would care about it. You
Also,
know?
I mean,
Right,
there
like,
might
that's
actually be,
kind of a body positive message. If you
Yeah,
think
it
about
actually
it.
really is.
there might be a gap here in like how men, like if it's a male writer, like how men behave with each other and talk to each other is a lot of times different than how women talk to each other. So you could be dealing with the fact that maybe it's a male writer writing female characters, and it's the meme that's like, it's like women's like, am I fat? No. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. If a guy says, am I fat? Your friend's like, bro, I know 5 fat people and you're 4 of them. Like that's just like if you've ever heard me and Dane talk to each other and you don't know that me and Dane are friends, you'd think we hated each other's guts, but that's just the way a lot of guys talk. It's like the internet's destroyed the ability to like have honest reactions to jokes. You're not allowed to just openly and honestly think something's funny unless it's stay in your own lane and it's humor against somebody exactly like you. If it's a joke about you, or if it's a joke, an all-encompassing broad joke about white people and you're white, you can find that funny. But otherwise, you're not really allowed on the internet to really find other things funny without somebody coming in and telling you that you're a bad person for finding that joke funny. But humor's universal. Everyone can find something funny about every group of people. The question is the intent of that person. I don't buy that the director of this movie, of Love Actually, is actually a bad person who's just out to harm other people. I think he understood that humor is a way to connect with people. And
for some reason, his daughter doesn't understand.
No, because she's what? She's a Zoomer, so she
her
probably had her
brain's
sense of humor surgically removed.
Yeah, exactly.
Surgically removed at birth.
Yeah. Do you like do fat jokes in movies bother you?
Not really. No.
Is there any type of humor that that does make you like? If you're watching a movie and there's all sorts of humor, is there any humor that does make you recoil? Like they've pushed the edges of what you find acceptable?
Probably.
Something, but
likely, yeah. I don't have one off the top of my head.
It's I can't really think of it. I mean, it's almost like the worse that it gets. Like in most movies and television, or what we've talked about here, is like you're more likely to be able to talk about like murder and people dying than you are sexual assault, right? So that's where a lot of people find the edge, right? They don't find that to be very funny, but there are people that will still go there and make those jokes. You won't see those in movies as much these days.
Yeah.
But it's just it's why the director of Joker, Todd Phillips, said that's why he stopped making comedies, because it's just too complicated now.
Right.
People's sense of humor is too far gone.
Mm-hmm. There's like rules and parameters and set what is funny or what isn't funny anymore based on what like culture you're a part of.
Yeah, and what fun is that if you're a writer and your job is to write? Like he actually says that. He says like at the end he says. He basically mentions about how about writing something for like a community he wasn't part of. Like he's like I went to a very undiverse school.
Well, here it's because his daughter asked him, why does Notting Hill have majority straight white male characters? And he said, I wish I'd been ahead of the curve because I came from a very undiverse school and a bunch of university friends. I think that I've hung on the diversity issue to the feeling that I wouldn't know how to write those parts. I think I was just sort of stupid and wrong about that. He's just beating himself up about the fact
his daughter's like holding the lash.
Right.
The other problem here is like, look, he's actually wrong here, because if you try to write something that that isn't part of your lived experience, you also get crucified for that. Why would they yell at you for not writing the characters right? Because you can't possibly understand that world or where they come from. So how could you write them authentically?
His movies were majority straight white males or just like white people in general, because it was 1999 and people didn't care about diversity quotas. Mm-hmm. You can just be honest and just say that.
He would have never said, and plus, to his daughter, that wouldn't have made any sense.
Say it's just not a thought that crossed your mind, instead of that you were having some kind of internal battle about it.
I mean, like, if a movie was made in Zimbabwe, would they be like, why are all the main characters straight Zimbabwe?
This is a very uniquely Western culture issue right now.
Right, absolutely, exactly.
It is an output.
White guilt.
Yeah, and it's an output of just growing up in a more multicultural society now here in the West, where they expect you to, because if you go watch movies and go turn on a telenovela, it will not be ultra diverse. It's just not, and nor should it be expected.
Write a rom-com about a Muslim couple where they can't hold hands. Everyone wants to see that.
There's also something about the fact that, like, offensive humor, even though I don't really think that at this time it would have been considered offensive, I think it would have just been par for the course. But offensive humor, when it's done right, like, it connects with people in a visceral way that a lot of other types of humor just don't do now. I feel like a lot of the humor today is kind of told through the lens of an extremely cynical society, and, like, offensive humor was more cynical, but actually evoked more emotion. Like when I read, like, a lot of the humor that I find funny now, it's the type of stuff you find funny because you're kind of half dead inside and it makes you laugh. Like when people making jokes about never being able to afford a home and stuff like that, or like how difficult it is to, like, do these types of things in America. It makes me laugh, but it makes me laugh in a like we're kind of effed sort of way. And that was
in
just
an
not the case
exhaling
back
out
then.
of the nostrils way.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. So it's just the movies these days, all the humor ends up having to be cutesy Reddit humor, or, oh my gosh, that's so random, because it's completely inoffensive.
Oh, like Rick and Morty?
Yes, very much
Yeah,
like Rick
that.
and Morty. So we'll actually be getting into that shortly. But all right, what would you guys like to see? Would you guys like to see cute of the day or cringe of the day? We've got 2 cringes of the day today, so we can go in either order.
Okay. Cute.
Cute?
Yeah.
Cute of the day?
Let's do it.
Let's do cute of the day first then. All right. I got a bunch of submissions here. Guys, remember, if you do want to submit to cute of the day, tag me and popculture_show on Twitter and put PCC pets in there. So here is one. This is from Enterprises and says, Rolly for cutest puppy.
Oh, the bow tie.
No.
He is very cute.
Oh my god.
He is very cute.
What a gentleman.
Let's do one more here. Oh, it says, this is from Jacob. He says, so I was cleaning out the shed and little Penelope here was curious as to why I shut the hens out. She just needed a peek, as this picture is perfect for making memes. I'll start.
That was David Beckham walking in the room to stop Victoria Beckham from lying about her dad owning a Rolls Royce.
His says Brett Dasovic whenever he hears anyone mention Tiffany Gomez. Accurate. Kind of accurate. Let's do one more. This is from Serenko Productions. Says Luna doing her best Doge impression.
No.
It works.
Very good.
The original
Great.
Doge is sadly passed away now.
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple of cringes of the day. I'll do the one I found first because this one actually did make me viscerally cringe. Mark Hamill posted this. Says, I'm the same age as Biden, ... Old guys rock.
Wait, really?
And then I have no idea if that's a real or if he just put that on there. You should never pose
way
with
too
them.
cool to do
Yeah.
something like that.
But the cringe is that he turned comments off. he couldn't even handle the
funny.
comment section to it.
Mark Hamill posted this.
He says also Mick Jagger, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Martin Scorsese, Christopher Walken, Malcolm McDowell, Billy Connolly, Eric Idle, and Kurtwood Smith. That's a very white list, you
Yo,
racist.
speak for yourself, though. Speak for yourself. I don't think that all of them would want to be associated
all
with
rallying
this
around
cringe.
this straight white man for
Yeah,
president.
it's a very white-centric post there. I think he should probably go and learn to do better somewhere. So, all right. And Mary sent me this one here. Let's watch this clip. It says, I don't know, guys. Maybe we shouldn't romanticize mental illness.
Even just if I want a little bit of attention
Me?
or I want to start a fight.
Yeah, back to our mental illnesses. That's part of it.
I love my mental illness.
Me too. It makes me me. My mental illness literally makes me me.
And single.
I don't care. Don't care. literally
I know.
don't.
How boring if we didn't have that.
Do you remember when I said Taylor Swift's movie should have been called like SSRIs and Birth Control, a Love Story?
Is it this?
Yes!
This makes me think of like those Red Pill podcasts where they talk about like the horrible antics and tactics that they use, and they're like, "No, we're not monsters. We're just strategic.
They're
it
like,
makes
"Look,
us us."
we don't abuse our boyfriends psychologically. We just use our mental illness in a tactical way that gains us the upper hand in our arguments.
Yeah.
Right?
The first
Yeah.
girl is one half
me
of what
quirky.
was originally the Call Her Daddy podcast, which is essentially a Red Pill podcast for women.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and I point this out a lot of times, and I don't really have like a way of describing it without it seeming kind of rude, but it does feel like culture heavily romanticizes the idea of being mentally ill now.
I've noticed that on the internet.
Yes,
yeah.
100%. Everyone has some kind of new made up neo like mental
Yeah,
illness.
like
that,
mental illness is your superpower and you should embrace it. And it's like, I don't know. You have it under control.
Well, there was a time when you just worked on it in private and you didn't.
Yeah.
and
What
you
the hell
didn't
happened to privacy with that?
make it public to everyone.
Do you think these girls actually are mentally ill, or they're just saying that for attention?
They could either be good method actors or
yeah, I think both. I think you speak stuff like that into existence. Like if you
100%.
say it enough, you have to, you can't just talk about it. You kind of got to be about it too.
You end up being
and
it,
I hope that they get together with all the red pill podcast dudes, podcast bros, and they
They
just all
definitely
create
make
be a
sense
circus.
together.
yeah.
Like,
big old
I mean,
echo chamber.
What do you think though? Like
Of this video?
Like,
or
what
of-
do you think that they are actually like mentally ill, or that they're just doing it for clout or to be funny or for clicks?
I
or-
don't know. A lot of them are just like, I'm so quirky because I have ADHD. Or whatever. Like, I don't think that this woman is sitting alone at night with like depression or like having panic attacks. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Do you think that's what it is? A lot of it is like what is the stuff you see? You see a lot on the internet, right? I do too, mostly in memes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like I said, mentioning the mental illness and glamorizing it, saying, "Hey, this is like a superpower. You can use it to your advantage." But
Yeah,
like, how is it a
that's
superpower?
dumb.
Yeah, I don't understand how depression could be a superpower.
And
Or
then
what-
I've seen a lot of posts that are like, autism is actually a superpower. It means you're on a higher level than everyone else. And I'm like,
or like mania. Like mania, is that
Oh,
a
yeah, that too.
superpower, or is that
How does
like
that work?
when like
gosh, you're just
one
on
of
a
the
high,
symptoms
euphoric-
of mania is thinking that it's a superpower when
Yeah,
it's actually
that
not.
grandiose.
Like that's one of
Yeah.
the symptoms of the condition.
Exactly.
And you're
Yeah.
feeding into it.
Yeah, mania, man, and the opposite end of mania is
Like
just
that is
down,
stuff
it's
that
super
makes
down.
people's lives harder.
Yeah.
Period.
100%. Yeah, and you're just living your life,
Like-
man. You're having a good time in euphoric state, and getting everything done, not
But
sleeping.
you're like spending all of the money in your bank account
100%,
and
yeah.
destroying your relationship.
Yes.
Telling people how great it is and how it's your superpower.
I do miss the days when you just worked on this stuff in private.
yeah.
But
Like,
I guess
it's so
it's also
respectable, man.
it's also part of like the culture where we have to affirm everything.
Yep.
And you're not allowed to be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's not a good idea to like
Make it other people's business. Like,
I wonder
know.
too, because there was always that argument of nature versus nurture. So I wonder if it's the nature of like, your environment and being surrounded by people always talking about having mental illnesses that has just created this like exponential explosion of people who either just think that they have something or actually do or convince themselves into that mental illness.
yeah.
Because it's not, we don't, necessarily, I don't think it's always like a genetic thing. Personally, I think it's more nature. So I think that's why we're seeing this huge boom, is because it's just like this exposure of this virus that's like spreading through the internet and like through people's screens.
Well, look at that
kinda.
hypochondriac during 2020. Like everyone became a germaphobe
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Yeah, that's those clips are depressing. Now I am picturing
Yeah.
like their boyfriend seeing. He's like, I knew you were faking it.
man.
He's like, you're not using that
Oh,
one
they
against
don't.
me
They
this
don't
time.
have boyfriends. They have rosters.
Oh, okay. All right.
Big
All right.
lines.
Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Because now that we
Right.
are
On that note,
39 minutes and 30 seconds into the show, let's go ahead and get started, ladies and gentlemen. So, Justin Roiland was let go from Rick and Morty at the end of last year, starting in the new year here. And they just released season 7 without him, and the ratings are in the tank, are they not, Mary?
Yeah, and the media is coping about it. I found this article from Variety saying Rick and Morty works just fine without Justin Roiland. Season 7 proves that they are going to be just fine without him, but he's the co-creator, the voice actor for both of the protagonists, and writer.
yeah, if you mean just fine in the salty girlfriend kind of way, then yeah.
You'll never,
Yeah,
find, you'll never find another girl. Have you ever seen that video of like the guy? It's like the car of people, and they're going. It's like a bunch of girls on the way to like an LSU football game. They're all dressed exactly the same. And there's just a guy in the back of a car going like, "You'll never find another girl like me. You'll never find another girl like me." Like that's what it feels like. But I listened to a couple of the clips. I mean, the voices they sound pretty close. But again, I'm not
They
a Rick and
said
Morty fan.
they had to listen to thousands of voice acting auditions for Rick and Morty, both characters. I guess they replaced them with 2 people instead of 1 because Justin Roiland was formerly doing both. But you're a Rick and Morty fan, I understand.
Oh my goodness.
You saw
These are
something
false
last
narratives
night.
being spread on the internet.
You're a
Well, you saw
stan.
one of the new episodes last night, right?
I did. So I watched.
So she is. She's
So yeah.
So the allegations
I
are
was
true.
waiting for someone to bring it up.
Yeah.
I did watch the first episode last night,
Thoughts?
and so my thoughts are the voices trying to imitate the original Rick and Morty were like nails on a chalkboard.
Oh.
Because they're so close to being the right thing, but they're just not. So it's like that kind of irritating like thing.
It'd be better if they went a different way entirely somehow.
Or just cancel the show,
Cancel
like
the
do
show.
a Breaking Bad,
Or
end
just
it while
like
it's still
don't
good.
fire the guy.
Yeah, or don't fire
Yeah.
the creator of the show and try to
like
continue it
James
without him
O'Keefe
and
situation.
act
What-
like everything's fine.
Do you want to explain to everybody
Yeah, it is
shortly
like
what
James O'Keefe.
happened? Like,
Yeah. So the last time we
people who
talked
don't
about
remember.
this, he had domestic violence charges against him from an ex that got dismissed. They got dropped. That's a separate thing. The rest of it is just that he was sending dodgy text messages and DMs to high school girls that were big fans of the show, and he used his clout as the creator of Rick and Morty.
I've heard this
I
before.
couldn't cringe harder just
Rick
saying
and Morty
this.
clout.
He used his Rick and Morty clout and their love of Rick and Morty to get.
What was the quote from the woman?
Oh yeah, one fan said that he used her sexual trauma and love of Rick and Morty to groom her when she was 16. I don't know. It was adult women. It was also girls that were in high school all together.
You can never tell on the internet either.
and you don't really know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, like
Look, okay,
he
dude,
was
if we had
being
to,
weird.
Yeah, if we were gonna fire every guy that did that, we would have no CEOs anymore. Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, not all of them really, like, but 90% of them like would have to
Right.
go. Also, what happened to like the separation of work and your personal life? Like, whatever he's going through in his personal life, if it's a domestic violence, whatever, like charge or accusation, isn't that your personal life? As much as abhorrent as I think that is, obviously, like, that shouldn't necessarily get you fired from your job. It should be kept private, shouldn't it?
I mean,
You
that
would
like
think.
a lot of like felons would tell you like, look, once you get a felony on your record, it's
Mm-hmm.
impossible to get a good job anyways. So it's like there is like a gap there. It's like what is actually true there.
Yeah, and
but you're right.
If he's
like,
found guilty, then yeah, sure, then fire him. But like while he's going through it, I feel like that's kind of like
the unfortunate
personal-
fact of the matter is when you're a public-facing persona, like the rules are like
Someone
you
said
make
he
more
used
money.
his status to get chicks. Shocking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yes,
no way.
I agree, but like just the fact that he had status from something as stupid as Rick and Morty is cringe enough that I can't take any of it seriously. I'm sorry. I don't care.
The other thing that's funny about it is he will still get paid for all of these episodes because he's co-creator. So he's
True.
not losing any
Like,
money.
what
If
is
anything,
the
he's just
importance
now he doesn't have to
of
work.
Now I don't feel as
firing
bad.
He doesn't have to work now. Now he's just like now he
Right?
gets paid well
Like
not doing
royalties
anything
or something? Like-
well,
So-
yeah, because he's a co-creator. So
And he's gonna get
yeah.
paid for all the merch that they sell and any IP that they use after the show is over.
Oh, so he made out on top.
So he literally wins after he gets fired because there were reports that he was getting lazy and not contributing to the writing of the show as
for the
much.
last several seasons.
Yeah, which he had the license to do because he was the heart of the show. And the failure of this new season is going to prove that. The Rotten Tomatoes scores are looking abysmal. It
Yes.
says 50% from critics and
Yeah.
43% from audience. So far, or
I
is it
have
lower?
63% from critics, 32%
That's higher
from
than
audience.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
no,
that's even
what I
worse.
would've
Yeah,
given it.
32% from the
32%.
audience. The critics are like slightly more charitable.
I couldn't get through the episode.
See, that's
Didn't
not
laugh
a, that's not a good.
once.
Oh, here, and
Yeah.
here's a fun fact. So I was looking it up because I was like, okay, look, if he hadn't been writing in the last couple of seasons, anyways, then what's theoretically going to change? If
Yeah.
the voice sounds similar and he's not doing the writing anyways, theoretically the show should be fine. I don't know if I buy that the average person knows enough about what's going on in Hollywood to be like, I'm not watching this. Justin Roiland is no longer, like, I don't know if I buy that, right?
Yeah.
But the writers attributed to this episode were a guy named Nick Rutherford, who's only done 3 episodes between 2021 and 2023. So one this year, and then a couple in seasons past. And the other one is somebody named Cody Ziegler, who's only done 1 episode. And his other credits were as a staff writer on She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. So, you know,
that's no good.
That could be why the writing is just not up to par.
You're like that Charlie Day meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes, they tell me the chat likes to tell me I look like Charlie Day all the time. I don't see it.
I'm not a fan of Rick and Morty in the first place, so like this doesn't affect me in any way. I wouldn't find the previous seasons funny, so
the first couple were funny. The last few were watchable in the background to have just as something on. They have gradually gotten less and less funny. This first one, I couldn't even. I was just like, I don't even.
How far
wanna
in
finish this
was
show?
Pickle Rick before or after they kind of fell off that cliff?
I don't know.
knows
Why is this like
the
a
Pickle
personality
Rick
quiz?
meme was the only impression I had of this
Yeah,
show's
yeah.
existence.
I think that was in the earlier seasons. No,
Okay.
I'm not sure. Ask the
Oh,
audience.
that and the Szechuan sauce meme. But that's the only impression.
That's
I have
one of
of
the things
show.
that I saw almost universally in the chat was like people were, or the other day was like people saying like, look, I know Rick and Morty from memes, not from watching it. There's a lot of there's a lot of shows that are like that, right? That I know.
Even
through
The
memes.
Simpsons is like that now.
It's become like that for a lot of people, right? You
The
know
Office
it.
is sort of like that now.
Well, The Office especially for
Yeah.
younger. But has The Office kind of leaped generations? Does Gen Z watch The Office?
It doesn't seem like it.
My
I
favorite
don't know.
Office meme recently was one. It was it mixes John Krasinski and Vin Diesel and says the family. And it's,
Oh, that's funny.
It like did the face thing where it like makes them both together, and it's
Gosh, I can't
creepy.
stand John Krasinski. I'm sorry. I don't know why they tried to make him an action hero heartthrob.
I'll tell you why. Because I just watched. I'd never seen 13 Hours, which is based on Benghazi, the military contractors at Benghazi, and it's really, really, really good. Like
But because of him,
he's really, really good in the movie. I don't know if he's it's a pretty wide cast, but he's definitely the star of the movie, right? Like my guess is that he got his starring role in Jack Ryan because of his work in that movie.
I won't watch them just because he's in it. But if they got like just as good of an actor who was like just more believable and a little bit more masculine, I would watch those movies because I've heard they're really good.
They compensate because he's got the beard. They give him the full beard.
Okay.
He's in really good shape. He looks like he could be a private military contractor in the movie, right? The other actors in it are all up to that same. My favorite is I was telling Mary, there's a guy named Max Martini, and he's always cast as vaguely military person. And I love that because he's got this deep voice. And he was in the show called The Unit. And he's really, really good. And I was like, but he was like a TV actor, right? And at this point, John Krasinski was on his way up to being like a film star. So Max Martini plays vaguely military contractor number 4, and all the other guys they look the part in that movie. I thought that was really, really good. But yeah, he works. I like John. I don't hate John Krasinski. I never watched The Office though, so I don't have that like.
It's a little goofy. For me.
There's a lot of actors like that who once you see them in something specific, you have a hard time. Like imagine if they tried to make David Schwimmer an action star after Friends.
Oh,
Has
man.
he done anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I guess David Arquette went on to do. He played Dewey in Scream.
Loved.
Oh,
that
yeah, he's
character.
Right? Like that was great. But that's for the most part. That's the most I think of him, other than anything else that he's done.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only thing I know him from.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So it is what it is. I have no interest in Rick and Morty, and I think they're wrong. I don't think it's going to get canceled. I think it'll keep going.
Right.
I think it's cheap enough to make, especially if you get rid of one of the main people. He'll still get paid royalties, but he's not going to get paid a per episode fee now.
They said many fans will tune into season 7 without knowing that Roiland left the show. Season 7 shows how Rick and Morty has matured into a machine built to outlast any individual contributor. But that just makes the show sound soulless and like, why would you aspire to have a creation feel like it's more of a machine?
I think it's more the viewers that are soulless, that will just watch something for the sake of watching it and for the fact that it's popular and it don't like.
Are
it
you
doesn't
saying
really,
this about yourself?
You know what? Look, I refuse to watch beyond season 7, episode 1.
I have a principled stance against ever watching Rick and Morty.
Yeah. The
So.
first few seasons were watchable.
Okay.
Isn't it weird though that the number one thing that I seem to see people say in this is like the people wouldn't know if he got recast anyway, so why recast him? So they're saying they won't know that he was recast. So if they don't know that he was recast, why would it matter to leave it?
I guess it's for like those who won't watch because he's still on there, and like I was
why would
saying,
it matter? Mortals. I don't know.
I don't buy this. I don't buy that most people care.
I don't know much about honestly what the accusations are, to be completely honest, but basically I think
he was just flirting with high schoolers sometimes. I don't know.
Okay, I mean,
but it's like the average. If you go in to watch a Hollywood movie and you look at the amount of people that worked on that film. It's Hollywood. There's at least more than a couple really bad people. Most likely in every single movie that you watch, you're accepting that you're putting your, I guess, if you live by this idea that you watching this movie is co-signing what they do, you're doing that for literally every movie you watch. Because there's going to be at least one bad guy on every movie. You may not know who it is, but they exist.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an opportunity to gain like free marketing and draw attention to the show while looking morally like superior for kicking him off the show, because now we're talking about it. Marketing,
perhaps.
There you go.
I mean, like it just doesn't seem like it's working. So yeah, all right.
The show still sucked.
Yurishima Otaru said Spider-Man for sure. He's usually the most popular. Who's winning though?
Right now, it looks like Batman is winning.
Shane H. Wilder said live-action Zuko needs to put a frozen steak on that black eye and suck it up. He looks like he'd probably give up if Appa tried to sit on him. Yeah. Yeah, it's not giving. Derp Space 9 said J.K. Simmons over J.K. Rowling. That is all.
That is true. I would actually much rather prefer J.K. Simmons anyways, because J.K. Simmons rules.
Shane H. Wilder said, to quote a great military man, Major Payne, 1 tubby tubby, 2 tubby tubby.
Maybe I need to watch Major Payne this weekend. I haven't seen that in a very long time. Maybe I'll watch that and Heavyweights over the weekend.
Sir Ranko Productions said, thanks for sharing Luna again. Also, R.I.P. Brett and long live Brittany Gomesovic? I don't even know how to say
very
that.
exotic name.
Tasman Chapman said, first time making it live, morning from Australia. Thank you.
Let's hold off on the rest and come back when we're done.
Okay.
All right. Let's go. Do you want to go ahead and tell us what's going on with this?
Kat Von D, we already talked about this. Yep. She's converted to Christianity, gotten baptized. She posted the video on Instagram. And we were talking about this because she was getting some backlash from former fans of hers. But now she has responded to some backlash that she didn't expect from fellow Christians. And it was a long video, so we can't really show you the whole thing. But like, let's just play a clip of it.
Do you want to do this for the one on Twitter?
Yeah.
The Twitter video? Okay, let's do that then. All right.
She also had her hairless cat feature in the video.
All right, here we go. Let's put it on screen here. Here we go.
I think one of the biggest, or one of the comments that I would see like repeatedly would be like people saying that I was faking it and that this is just a PR stunt to get like clicks and follows and I don't, or views, which I think is so weird because I mean, my Instagram is not monetized, so I don't get paid for how many views I get. And like I mentioned before, a majority of my followers are probably more turned off by my decision than actually like rooting for me. I mean, I know there's a big amount that is, but like it was a big decision to like come out and share that with the world. And like I said, I was expecting a lot of negativity coming from my existing fans and followers and friends. And although I got a little bit, it was not anything compared to the criticisms that I got from Christians. There was like a lot of criticisms, weirdly enough, about like the way that I dress and the way that I look or the way that my friends looked in the video. And I think it's really insane that we live in a time where people still like judge a book by its cover. Like I feel like I wasn't aware that there's a uniform that you're supposed to wear once you give your hearts to Jesus. Like, but and I will say that there is like a certain aesthetic that is a very stereotypical aesthetic for like the Christian community, and that is not me. Like, I don't dress like that. But at the same time, I just feel like I would never judge you for how you look, so why would you judge me? Like, what part of this is considered demonic, or is it just because you have a perceived notion of like if people wear black clothes or if they style their hair a certain way or if they have tattoos? It's like, that to me is like the silliest thing you could say. So for all of you out there that are telling me that like I'm not a real Christian unless I delete everything I've ever posted, or I got to stop listening to The Cure or whatever, I think that you may have gotten it a little wrong. Like, another criticism that I found was just attacking my husband. I feel like
we can cut it here. I mean, there's a lot more that she said, and I don't want to subject you to listening to the entire live stream. But what do you think, guys? Is it shocking that most of her backlash is from people who are already Christian? You also got baptized recently.
I did.
Not in the most public way.
Right, exactly.
Like
So I can't imagine the like amount of backlash she must be getting. I find it hard to believe that it's mostly from Christians. But I guess regardless, people, anytime you try to change or better yourself, there's going to be people that come after you and tell you that it's not the right way to do it, or tell you that you're doing something wrong, always, no matter what you do. So, I mean, if it is mostly Christians, it's pretty disappointing.
I was surprised by that, too, because it's not like there aren't hypocritical Christians out there, but I just feel like where the culture is at, most Christians are almost too accepting of, like, everything in modern churches now. So the fact that anyone would be commenting on Kat Von D's Instagram saying you need to stop wearing black and listening to The Cure or something like this, asking her to be some kind of like, I don't know, Stepford wife, that's like ridiculous to me, because I just haven't seen people like that in any comment sections. Like, mostly what Christians are supposed to be now is just like nice, like, I don't know, Ned Flanders types.
There's a $20 super chat here from Perturbed Alpaca. Says, surprise, you steep yourself in a cult and witchcraft craziness for most of your life, and people are skeptical. Insofar as being a goth Christian, welcome to the club. My parents still make fun of me for my musical choices.
Well, I mean, she made a big point of renouncing the occult, renouncing witchcraft, throwing away her books that were related to that, and all of her tarot cards and all of this stuff, because she said it was not what she wanted to have in her home. But people still have an issue with it because she like dresses up like she's in the Addams Family sometimes.
All the time.
Like, what's the big?
That's what she looks like.
What's the big deal?
Like, does this happen to you? Like, do people ever talk about like you about like dressing differently than what they expect the average Catholic to dress like?
I don't know. Like, I really haven't gotten that much of that.
Yeah.
I think maybe when I was in high school, my teachers said a couple things here and there, but like, I don't know. That's not really representative
Catholic
of
school. It's not Instagram.
Yeah. That's not representative of the entire population of Christians out there. But I'm just surprised because Christians these days are pressured to always be like the least judgmental possible so that they don't get called out.
Yeah, it could just be the fact that she's Kat Von D and she's an easy target.
People already hated her.
Yeah, people already didn't like her. She dated Jesse James, like.
Oh, she did?
I think so, right?
So that gives them.
They
just
also
more
disliked her
license
for being like a vaccine skeptic, I think.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Like, that was a big deal. And she got into some kind of drama with Jeffree Star at one point.
About vaccine stuff?
No, not about vaccines, but like just she's had drama with different.
Yeah.
I like her. She's always been kind of
linear. Yeah, she's been.
Yeah, she's kind of based.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by this. I mean, maybe I have like a stereotypical view of what I imagine it to be like, but I imagine if you enter the community later that people are going to be skeptical of it, especially if you had a very public presence that was very much the opposite of what you're doing now.
People or people who are already Christian?
People who are already Christian, people within the community. Like, I'm not to say that it'll last forever.
But there's
just
not
saying,
a Christian community, really.
Like the idea that people who would be self-proclaimed Christians are saying you're not Christian enough or you're not doing it the right way. Anytime you enter a community, there's going to be people who are going to be judgmental of how you approach it because they're going to think that they're gatekeeping and they want to keep you out in case they find that you're not faithful enough to whatever they believe.
I've had the opposite experience. Like the most welcoming people have been the Christians, and like not that anyone's really been skeptical or anything, but I would say it's more like people who are atheist or who believe in science or whatever, like kind of more questioning. Maybe like for her, it just feels more like it's the Christian community that's not being accepting of her because that's what she's paying more attention to.
Also, it's most likely her, like for you, this is happening in the real world, right? Where you're gonna deal with people who are probably maybe a little bit more balanced. I'm guessing that most of this backlash isn't coming in the real world; it's coming digitally, and she's going to be getting backlash from people no matter what. Right?
Yeah, true. And you don't even know if these people are really Christian or not online. But question, is getting baptized, like, now that Kat Von D has done it, is that kind of the new, like, punk rock, like, rebellious thing?
Feels like
Kind
that.
of sounds like it, right? Yeah.
Feels like, I mean, like there's always a story of some celebrity now who leaves Hollywood and moves to outside Las Vegas, or moves to Montana, or moves to someplace.
Mark Wahlberg did
Mark
that.
Wahlberg moved out, and they move out and they start a life because they understand that the Hollywood industry, the Hollywood bubble, is not safe or not good for them.
So did Jeffree Star, actually.
Yes, Wyoming.
Yak Farm.
Alexa Panavega and her husband moved out to Hawaii to take up. They act out there and they do stuff like that, but they're not part of the Hollywood industry. And I think that is in a lot of ways what you'd consider the actual punk rock of the industry, which is like it's not mainstream acceptable right now, but they're doing what speaks to them.
Yeah,
and that's what she'll have to do, right? She'll have to accept that she's gonna hold on to her faith and not let the people who are talking bad about her shake her.
Yeah,
Totally.
I'm just confused by the response, because when I was searching through to look for comments that were critical of her and that were negative about the whole thing, I was just seeing comments from people that already had a problem with her before, who were saying like, oh, so we're just gonna think she's a good person now that she's Christian? She's a Nazi! Like, and I was like, oh, I didn't know she was a Nazi. That's interesting. Like, I didn't really see Christians saying this stuff. I didn't.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a $20 one here from Retrocalypse, says, not surprised about Christians treating Kat that way. Wait and see what happens when she starts talking theology or, God forbid, becomes a Catholic. Happy for her. God bless all.
Oh yeah, one of the things that she supposedly got comments about was that her baptism wasn't real because they didn't submerge her hands in the water.
That baptism
is not real.
That baptism.
So they went through. They replayed the video like it was after a football game. They were watching
frame by frame to check that the tip of her fingernail was submerged fully in the water.
The guy's got the digital pen. He circles it like it's a football game. He's like, if you see right there,
exactly.
the fingernail did not go under the water. Therefore, she has not been baptized. It's all a sham.
Who's making the final call on that one?
Yeah, somebody should have asked for instant replay on that. And that's got to be hard, right? When you find something that you're passionate about in life that's got nothing to do with your work, something like faith, which I admit that's not part of my life, but I do have things that I'm passionate about. I do have things that I love to do. And the idea that people want to just come in and be like, no, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
That's got to be a bit of a struggle. But hopefully she's early enough on in it that it doesn't discourage her from
I would hope
continuing the path.
Yeah. And you know, I think she's been in the spotlight long enough to know to expect this.
Yeah. And yeah, if you're a public figure, you know, especially with someone like that who is already quasi controversial for a period of time, like you're used to getting backlash or pushback.
The part of this that I do want to question a little bit is the second thing she posted after her baptism was a music video for a song called like Vampire Love or something. Whatever, she's goth. Like, that's not surprising to me. But in the video, there is some kind of contortionist performer on a stripper pole.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's party time. We need to talk to Carter. We need a new Crisis Party sound.
True.
We need
It's time.
Nightcore Crisis Party.
But yeah, she had this performer on a stripper pole in the background of her music video, and people were commenting like, that doesn't seem very Christian to do, which is true. That's true.
It is true.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you're criticizing someone after they get baptized for wearing black and listening to The Cure, like, that's a little bit different than like fully endorsing and promoting strippers or like stuff like that.
Corruption, basically.
Like, that's more about your behavior than how you look. So that's like, seems like a valid criticism to me.
Do you find that most of the critique you see of Catholicism comes from outside the community, or do you see any? Is there like their own infighting there?
There's a lot of infighting. I don't know. It's hard to tell from inside.
Yeah.
Catholicism.
The view is different from the inside, so
Yeah.
it'd be it'd be difficult.
There's a lot of infighting that a lot of people outside the church have no idea about. And I hope they don't.
Does does the church want to know about that, or are they just
what?
like, you're saying that there's a lot of infighting you're saying there's a lot of critique from outside the church that the church doesn't know about?
No,
there's critique, there's
infighting that
within
people
the
outside
church.
the church have no idea about.
Yeah,
Like,
you know.
wouldn't understand or just wouldn't think
understand
of.
and wouldn't think of, and probably wouldn't benefit from learning about.
Actually, that's actually true, because like, look, after Mike Lerner was here, I like followed him on
like, you see
Instagram,
his post and you're like,
his
what
post,
is this?
It would be the funniest stuff in the world that would make no sense to me. He's like yelling at people about the Virgin Mary. I'm like, he sounds angry. I don't know what he's angry about, but he sounds very passionate about whatever this is, and I'm here for it. Good for him. Like, he sounds very sure of himself. So I'm sure he's right. Just
I mean,
I know.
to tie it all together, that's why a lot of wars have been fought and are being fought now because of little nuances in holy scriptures.
It's there's something funny about that, like looking at from the outside looking in at like a culture like that somebody's experiencing so deeply, and you're like, wow, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's very interesting. I don't know. It makes sense. I mean, I think that exists in all subcultures too, right? Like that there's their own thing for that in skating, or you even see that here in like people within internet culture, right? Like, YouTubers have their own infighting, which we'll end up talking about later and stuff like that. It's just it's the unfortunate outcome of being part of any type of social dynamic. It's just that when it's tied to religion, it seems to impact people a certain way. There's a $20 one here from Papa Piker. I still want to know if that's Hassan Piker's dad. Attention, goths, scene rockers, punk. If you're going to go Christian, go Orthodox. The transition is smoother since we have a tattoo culture. Our priests look like wizards, and we focus more on the mystical over legalism.
Nice.
Selling out the wizard.
Mary says disavow.
And I've known plenty of Catholic priests that have tattoos. Plenty.
There you go. So yeah, it's just when you're part of an in group, you're gonna have pushback from something like that. So she'll be fine, I'm sure. All right, let's go to super chats.
Derpspace9 said, when she says you'll never find another girl like me, reply with, from your lips to God's ears. Not being with her is the point, not coincidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Joseph said, art and artist, Brett.
Yeah, like I mean, is the point here like separating art from artist? I can do that. This is one of the things that we were talking about earlier. I saw somebody pointing out, I think it was Derp said something about like that I was co-signing bad behavior because I'm willing to watch these movies knowing that Hollywood has an industry full of bad people. But in a culture as connected as ours now, you buy products from a company like Amazon, which likely has bad people working for it. You buy like I'm not willing to disavow entirely unless it's even on specific circumstances. Like, look, I'll still go watch The Usual Suspects because I love that movie, even if I think Kevin Spacey was guilty of something. I'll still go listen to music by artists that have been committed of crimes. That's not co-signing the crimes. I'm not saying that those crimes are okay. I'm saying that I am disconnected from what actually happened to that person, and that's just part of the world you live in, where you now come into contact with people, whether it's through art, whether it's through the internet. You're gonna talk, interact, and be around people digitally that you would not have connection to in the real world. Now, would I want to go and have a beer with Kevin Spacey? No, I would not. Like, would I want to go hang out with Justin Roiland? No, I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out with Justin Roiland even if he wasn't accused of crimes. But you get what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like,
for all you know, dude, a commie made the shirt you're wearing. Like, we don't know where all these things came from or who made them. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I get what people are saying, because I imagine that a lot of people that take that same viewpoint, that harsh viewpoint, are the same ones who are very steadfast about boycotts and are talking like, look, don't buy products from people that hate you, which I get the sentiment for. It's just not my sentiment. I'm not willing to do like I'm just so disconnected from it. I'm like, tons of people hate me. So what? Like, if you make a product that I want to buy, I'm going to buy it. And more often than not, I tend to find that they don't hate you. They don't know you exist, nor do they care. Like, that seems to be the bigger issue you have with Hollywood. Is like, yeah, the actors might like have an ideology that hates you. The directors might think you're awful and all this stuff, I guess, but they don't know you specifically. They just hate generic characteristics about you. Welcome to the world. Like, I get that that's not the popular opinion in these spaces, that people want to be very steadfast in their boycotts and they want to hold these people accountable for their beliefs. But if you make something I find worth watching, I'm going to watch it.
There's no point of having like a moral high ground because you don't know what to boycott until that time comes. And until then, you were supporting it. So does that make you morally bankrupt if you just didn't know?
That's a good point.
DCNC said, if you don't watch Rick and Morty but you watch Friends, I can't take you seriously.
I watched
neither.
I don't think I've ever seen an actual full episode of Friends. I dated a girl who loved Friends, and it was like
So you never watched.
No,
was it her whole personality?
No,
though?
it was not.
Okay,
it was not. It was.
Well, why did you never want to watch it?
It doesn't interest me. Like, I don't care about. Like, I was like no. But I will watch, like, pick something else that you like, or we'll go to a movie, but I'm not watching Friends.
Why, though?
This
seems like a little bit of a contrarian take.
Well, mainly because we watched it at my place, and I'm not, it was like, what are you going to bring the box set over? I didn't have cable. I still don't have cable.
Box.
Right? Are you going to bring the box sets over or something like that?
The dedication.
We just watched other things, so.
DCNC said, chat wants to know if a de-aged Roiland resembles Brett.
Ow. I guess.
I don't think that you look like Justin Roiland just because you both have glasses.
Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
200 Watt Studio said Robert Blake played a streetwise priest and he murdered his wife.
Okay. All right.
And what about it?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back after the fact. I see the rest of them there. Go ahead, Mary. Tell us what's going on with Sssniperwolf.
There's a YouTuber that goes by Sssniperwolf, and a lot of people are calling for her to get deplatformed on YouTube after she showed up at the house of a fellow YouTuber who was critiquing her in multiple videos. She just literally posted pictures of his house on her Instagram story as a joke and doxed his location. And he's actively calling for YouTube to take action, take down her channel. I mean, it's justified, but all of the YouTuber drama just seems like the most immature shit in the world. More seriously, though, an old clip from her channel from 2014 is resurfaced. And we're not going to show it because it involves children, where she was on an Omegle call with a couple of minors, and she basically, in the video, she asks them to twerk in exchange for flashing. And
what year was this?
That was back in 2014. And then when people found this video and started reposting it, she put it on private because she realized she messed up. And it seems weird that nobody's talking about that part of the story. It's mostly about her doxing the YouTuber. Both things are abhorrent and not the way that a 31-year-old woman should be acting.
It's really funny. I was watching this video earlier where it was her sister like arguing with people online, and we're watching it, and Mary's like, "This is really immature." Like she like I was like, I'm watching it like in my head, I'm going, "This is ridiculously immature," and then Mary like out loud goes, "This is really immature."
Yeah, they just argue like middle schoolers, but like she's doing seriously illegal stuff.
Yeah,
so
the
it's
doxing is
warranted.
no good.
Weird.
Yeah, stalking.
She didn't post his address. Okay, fine. But she showed up at his house outside and said, "Hey, let's talk like adults," and posted pictures of it on her Instagram story for everyone to see, and probably use their internet sleuthing skills to find out exactly where this guy lives with his wife. I don't know if he has children, but either way, horrible thing to do. Probably grounds for a restraining order at the very least, and just super unhinged behavior.
Yeah.
I also came across this tweet that said, "My platform lets me get away with anything starter pack," and it had a picture of Sssniperwolf and a picture of Pokimane.
Does the I have a question. Like, does the idea here, like, because doxing is illegal, is the idea that like she didn't do it on purpose? Like, she's like, I have a claim to the judge.
Well,
she's like, Your Honor, I didn't realize that's what I was doing.
Stupid though. Like, obviously, you know that every other person on the internet is a detective.
Yeah.
And if you post a photo of someone's house, they're gonna zoom in on the floorboards or like the paint color on that house and figure out where and what street like that person lives on.
Doxing is not a legal crime, though, right? It's just against TOS.
I don't know, actually.
I would imagine that it's like...
But I mean, she has the technicality as well that she didn't actually post his address.
Yeah. But still, you know, imagine that like you broke up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you move somewhere new, and then they just like show up at your house. If that's not weird to you, then multiply the weirdness by just some random person you've never met in the real world just shows up at your house.
Yeah. We watched the videos that he made critiquing her, and his critique was all about her content being super low effort, like TikTok reaction clips.
Yeah.
And that is all her channel consists
where's the
of.
lie?
So where's the lie? And why take it so personally when you know it's true and you're making tons of money off of doing zero work? And she's taken it so personally to show up at this guy's house like a psycho. Pokimane, though, responded to this tweet, lumping her in with Sssniperwolf, and said, "I'm vehemently against doxing, especially as someone who has been doxxed, swatted, and stalked for years. This comparison is unnecessary, and I don't want to be part of your, quote, women can get away with anything agenda. I sincerely hope that YouTube helps Jack." Jack is the name of the YouTuber that she doxed. It's Jack's Films. She also added, "I'll always try to apologize and do better when I make a mistake. It's okay if you haven't forgiven yet, but please don't compare me to someone who committed a crime and put people's safety at risk."
She did put his safety at risk, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's Pokimane, not Sssniperwolf saying that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They all have such stupid usernames, too. Like, you're not 13. Sorry, you're a grown-ass adult. Your name is not Pokimane. Your name is not Sniperwolf. Your name is not Jack's Films.
Well, that's a YouTube,
go by your real fucking name.
YouTube channel is, I think YouTube channel is different.
I don't know.
YouTube channel. Like,
YouTubers are just a whole other breed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My name is not Pop Culture Crisis.
What?
Okay, but that's not the same thing. Like, it's the name of the show versus your username.
Yeah. It's weird because it's for something like this. I just don't know if it's fair to like he's got all the right to be upset in the world, right? But like watching them argue is just funny to me. Like,
do you think YouTube should ban her, or is that not justified?
At least a strike.
A strike, I guess. If it's against TOS, a strike.
If anything, like, she should get a strike for using other people's content.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that was the big part of his critique, right? It was like using other people's content without transforming it, without actually adding commentary and stuff like that.
He didn't even get into the fact that she enticed minors to do sexual stuff on camera. So he didn't even get to that part.
How does that keep getting overlooked? She's so sneaky. Like,
because she's a woman and she's attractive and shows tits.
Young girls or young boys?
Boys. She gets away with it because she's an attractive female.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter. Like, if a guy had done that and he has this big of a platform, he would have been deleted by now.
He would have been called a PDF file.
That
Yeah,
is actually
like totally
something like-
canceled.
What it is.
Like having like depending on the size of your platform, you can get preferential treatment now. Like if something bad, like if you're mistreated by a company, and you have a big enough platform, you can make a stink on the internet now and have that immediately rectified.
Right.
And that's the type of power that the average person just isn't going to have.
I forget his name, but there was a male YouTuber that did literally the exact same thing, asking for these types of videos from female fans. And he's in prison now.
Who was it? You don't remember who it was?
It was like Austin something or other. I don't know. He was some singer on YouTube, and he did the same exact thing that Sniperwolf has recorded herself doing.
Yeah.
And he is in prison now. So there's the double standard in action. But ironically, Sniperwolf was asked by an interviewer at Vogue, are there any double standards you face as a female gamer and cosplayer in a largely male industry? She said, people just don't really expect a girl to be a gamer. You don't call men boy gamers, so the term girl gamer shouldn't even exist. Why bring gender into it? The past few years, I've witnessed the rise of female streamers, community managers, game developers, and so on, and it's exciting to see our community changing for the better. The best thing about being female is you don't have to wait in line for the bathroom at a gaming event. Jokes aside, most of us struggle getting on mic while playing for fear of being judged or scrutinized.
Well, everybody's afraid of that, but
also, I think Sniperwolf has already been called out for faking her gameplay on stream. Yeah. She's recorded someone else's gameplay.
What?
And put herself over the video, pretending to play the game on live streams. Yeah.
What is the male equivalent to this? Like, she's got
God.
a point about like like calling someone like a girl gamer. What is like the male equivalent to that? Like in the other direction, would that be like male makeup artist?
But they embrace that, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of more of a selling point. But men aren't interested in the things that women are interested in, right? They don't try to get involved in those things unless they're gay men, usually. Yeah. Like in the makeup world.
But they would still be a man in that role. So would they be embraced as like a male makeup artist or a male costume designer or something? I don't know. Like I would know that. I would know the demographic breakdown of
they
that.
usually are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not as
some of the most successful ones, actually.
If they are like some kind of minority or like demographic, like you said, like if they are gay or if they're trans, then I would say they tend to be a little bit more celebrated. Like it.
I can't think of a
versus
straight
if like a straight
male makeup artist.
Yeah, same. I don't know any, but I know like Marco or like Kim Kardashian's makeup artist. What's his name? He's really talented.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I think it's Marco, makeup by Marco.
Oh, male model.
Yeah.
You do call them male models, kind of like
Mario.
Oh, yeah.
It's makeup by Mario.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would never use the term female model. You'd use the term male, but you will say male model.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good call.
I see. That's
But like, how
chat.
is that demeaning? You know, calling someone a female gamer, it's just like that's what you are.
Yeah, it's but it's also like to them it's a selling point. Like what she's saying is kind of like a nudge, right? It's like it's still a selling point. Yes, you'd prefer if they just called everyone gamer, but it would also make your videos harder to come by because it's a great way to market yourself by using that title in there.
Well, she goes to a lot of effort to not put in any effort at all in her content, clearly.
Somebody says merman rather than but mermaid is different too. Oh, male strippers. There you go. Female strippers are just strippers. Male strippers are male strippers.
So unfair.
That's the chat is killing
Male
it with
doctors are just doctors. Female doctors are female doctors.
They're Ben Shapiro's wife is what they are. Well, no, they call her a doctor. They don't call her a female doctor. It's like Ben Shapiro's wife.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like so they broke TOS. I don't know what the TOS ban on YouTube is for doxing, but strike seems more than fair to me. But the argument on Twitter was the argument on Twitter was really funny because the sister basically said like he's afraid of a 110-pound girl. I was like, is that really what it is? Like it's just the whole thing's just weird.
No, it's weird to come to someone's house and post it on social media to a platform of millions of people.
Yeah.
And then I think of the yellow pages. There's a whole phone book you know, with like people's addresses in it.
Yeah.
So is that
back in the day?
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why that is why a lot
Weird.
of YouTubers use stage names, or they use or they have a channel name where they just know their first name and not their last name, right? Because they don't necessarily put their whole name out there so that somebody can go into a phone book and look it up.
Alias, yeah.
Like that's understandable. There's a lot of people who do believe. Remember the whole kerfuffle over Jordan Peterson and online anonymity when he was like saying that you shouldn't be allowed to be anonymous online.
But it's like in the way that big tech is today, and the way that people are censored for their opinions, and the way that they could get doxxed for having very middle of the road opinions. Anonymity is like your only option if you actually want to speak your mind. So I always disagreed with Jordan about that.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Like the idea of compelling someone that they have to put their identity forward. I mean, we're still allowed to write.
Unless you're using it to do something illegal or wrong.
Right.
Like, but if you're using anonymity to just speak your mind,
male feminist.
That makes me think of
male feminist.
and male nurse.
Yes.
Nurse.
But like, isn't like it's in the Constitution? Like the you're allowed to write under a pen name. Like you're not forced to publish under your own name.
Oh yeah,
That's
it
a
is
big-
in the Constitution.
Like
huh?
that's a big part of it.
Interesting. That's actually a really good point that I feel like people don't talk about enough because you're for example, Libs of TikTok. That's one of the more famous ones I think of. Like she was doxxed or like her identity was revealed, and it's kind of violating someone's constitutional right when you like dox them or you reveal their real name instead of their pen name. I think it should be kind of taken a lot more seriously. Really.
Yeah, and as we know, people like you don't know the mental state of the person who gets that information, so it should be taken seriously, right? Like in this case, sure, it's something people can laugh about because nothing came of it other than people bickering online, and it's a stupid conversation. But that doesn't mean that some unhinged person isn't going to find their way to that location and something bad could happen. That's
But I
something
think,
worth
like,
fighting against.
Pokimane is equally unhinged because we already covered this. She called for internet trolls to get imprisoned. Like she thinks it should be a crime to cyberbully her, basically. to cyberbully a female streamer or whatever. She thinks that should be a crime punishable by law. You should be thrown in jail.
That wasn't even that long ago. That was like 5 months ago.
And everyone just kind of forgot that happened.
Like,
haven't seen her petitioning for that though. I didn't see any action.
It's really weird how those things, like, you wait a couple months and it just
she lived long enough to
disappears.
see herself become the troll.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. Like, it's I think anonymity is really, really important because it's and also it's one of those things where people have then you have to kind of fight. A lot of times it's about fighting for legitimacy, building up a reputation online if you're anonymous, because it is easy to ignore
harder.
people if they're just nameless and faceless in an avatar, right?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I tend to dismiss the comments from somebody who's like a nameless, faceless person who's a sock account. I don't pay that the same mind somebody who co-signs what they've said with their name and in their pictures, like. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but I think the more serious one down the line will be the other stuff about the exposing herself in front of in front of kids. That's just creepy.
If anyone cares enough about it at all to talk about it.
Somebody also said female Brett. That's one you have to preface.
What?
Brett is actually like
female skater.
One, yes, actually no. In rollerblading, they call themselves bladies.
Oh,
I never, but it's kind of like goes to like the notion of like I never like the term boy mom or girl dad either. It's like, why do we subcategorize and divide ourselves further down? So I actually understand her point there. I just thought for a lot of the women in gaming or stuff like that, it's a selling point to be a female streamer because
it helps you.
Yes, it helps market. So
Yeah.
all right, let's go to super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, I find it hard to believe that she's getting the majority of her hate from Christians. Also, Mary is right about the infighting in the Catholic Church. TLM versus Novus Ordo, random Sede Vacantists. Yeah.
Okay, what was that? I need to know. What the hell is that?
It's people who believe that the seat of the Pope is vacant and that Pope Francis is not the real Pope.
Oh, I think you've mentioned this off air. Like, you're like, yeah, it's a thing. They fight about it.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
You don't need to know about it. It's fine.
But isn't that kind of funny? Like we live in a world now, like like people love to be outsiders looking in. So there's definitely some non-religious person who deep dives into
They're
that.
just super
and
invested in the
They're
beef.
just eating a ton of popcorn and like reading endlessly about that, even though it has no bearing on their life whatsoever. Like they're like, yeah, but it's really, really interesting. Right?
I doubt it. It's like, so uninteresting.
It's like people who are really interested in the royal family who aren't there, like who don't live in England.
Yeah.
There are, my mom loved reading about the royal family. My mom loved it.
Yeah.
I never got it. Never made any sense to me. But I mean, I think the average person who does that doesn't look at them as a royal family as much as they look at them as like a weird type of celebrity. It's they're just famous for a different reason. Rather, I mean, there are people who care about American politics that don't live here, that don't have any, like, you know, like because Donald Trump made it funny and interesting to care about politics in America. So it's like, why would you, if you live in Guam, why do you care? Like, if you live in, I guess you live in Mexico, you'd kind of have to care because you're on the border here. But like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, why does somebody in the UK really care about? Remember when Donald Trump went to the UK and they had the baby Donald Trump float thing or the air balloon?
Oh yeah.
Like, why do they care? Why do they like? Seriously, it does not affect them.
Yeah,
makes no sense. Weird. Let's do 2 more.
Derpspace9 said, I get your point, Brett. Sometimes the situation goes a bridge too far to just accept it as the way it is. Cuties by Netflix was that moment for me.
Well, I'm certainly never going to watch Cuties, but like I'm trying to think of like a movie that like Cuties would be a good example of something that I'm not going to watch because of the bad publicity, the message it sends.
Okay, but like whether or not you watch it has nothing to do with whether Netflix still gets a payment from you every month.
Yeah. Like, I'm still going to have my Netflix. So, I get it. I get the point.
Just steals the content.
Like, okay, for instance, it's Halloween week. Like, we're coming up on Halloween in a couple weeks. And one of my Halloween traditions is I rewatch the original Scream movies.
Cool.
All of which were produced by Harvey Weinstein, who is an utterly despicable and awful human being.
I wish I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Oh my gosh.
Does he make money off of...
No. Yes, he does. I mean, I don't know. I don't
buy
know.
commissary.
You know, like I'm still gonna.
Does he make money actively off of you rewatching the Scream movies?
I have no idea.
Brett.
I have no idea.
Don't think he does.
So the point is though, it's like I'm
does.
watching that movie knowing that there was a not so great person involved in getting those movies made.
One that you know of.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Famously. There could be others
so maybe
in every
like,
movie.
You have to like weigh that's like, okay, I love these movies as a kid. They were a big part of my childhood. I have to weigh like what those movies meant to me at a young age and what they mean to me now versus what his actions mean to me. And what his actions say to me speak of a larger issue about Hollywood entirely, but it doesn't destroy what those movies meant to me because I'm not watching them thinking about him. I'm watching them thinking about like what they meant to me when I was younger.
Yep.
Sarah and Cara might be thinking about Harvey Weinstein next time.
Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
100% I will be.
It's
Thank you so
unfortunate.
much, Brett.
My bad.
You ruined
Ignorance
it
is
for them.
bliss.
My bad. Sorry.
Shane H. Wilder said, you dox someone. What do you expect is going to happen? Also, who gets upset at criticism and then goes to the critic's house? She's unhinged.
That is very unhinged.
Yes.
Let's
point.
hold off on the rest. We'll come back after the fact. We got a fun one here for the end here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the top Halloween costumes of 2023.
This is great because I've been having trouble picking.
Are you working on it right now?
I am.
You're working on it
I'm
right
trying
now?
to decide.
All right. What were you leaning towards?
I haven't thought of anything yet. I'm just drawing a blank this year.
God, what should we do?
Well, the number one that seems to be going around is Barbie and Ken. Barbie and Ken seems to be where everyone is putting their thoughts right now.
Can you guys please both do the rollerblading costumes?
Oh man, no, that would work more for you guys. Don't you think?
I had to get so many memes sent to me when this movie was
but
getting made.
I'm not a bladey, so that doesn't make sense for me, but that makes sense for Brett.
It's Sarah Noble. She's a lady.
Oh yeah,
she
you and
is.
Sarah should
Yeah.
Well, she
do
does
the
quads.
Barbie
Doesn't
and
count. Doesn't count. Quads. Doesn't count.
Skate on them. Come in.
Look, the movie, like, also, like, for this year, I think the big part of it is, like, there was a lot of pop culture stuff that, like, we have, like, Ariel for The Little Mermaid. So does this mean you get to finally, like the only
wear
way
blackface as
the
Ariel.
only way that white
Is that
people
what you're
can do is if it's a character that started white, became black, and then goes back to white.
Numbers 2 trending costume for white girls is blackface Ariel in 2023.
You just don't wear the blackface.
They single-handedly brought it back.
You just wear the costume. We got a $20 one here from DCNC who says tiny submarine costume. I actually had that on my list of offensive costumes. Was you could be one of the people in the Ocean Gate sub.
Wait, but how would that work?
They had the vests on. They were like fleece vests.
If someone has to ask you what are you dressed up as, and you have to give them a long-winded explanation, that's not a very good costume.
Yeah.
I do like the idea.
Well, this group of people, they got together and there was no windows.
Then it just makes you sound like a bad person.
If there's group costumes this year, you could go as Will, Jada, and Tupac. Or Will, Jada, and Chris Rock.
And O.J. Simpson?
And yes, also, if you wanted, you could go as Logan Paul. She could go as Nina Agdal. And then like the third person could go as any of the men that were in those pictures with Nina Agdal.
Got a lot of options.
There's a lot
Leonardo
of people.
DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. You could all do that. I like that. Somebody could go as Miranda Sings with a ukulele. There's all sorts of bad costumes that people could do this year if they're looking to be offensive.
I could do
There's
Miranda
plenty
Sings.
of offensive ones.
That's actually a good one.
Okay, I'm looking at the problematic costumes list because, of course, that's the first place my mind goes. Serial killers in general, including Jeffrey Dahmer, because of the Dahmer monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story from Netflix, which was really popular this year. I was guessing a lot of people are going to want to dress up like Jeffrey Dahmer, but...
It's the glasses. Everybody loves the glasses.
Right.
And the...
Is that problematic now?
Yeah.
Bleach blonde hair.
Yeah.
You know, those frosted tips.
How do you guys feel about that? Like, would you laugh at a serial killer costume?
I think that's weird.
You think it's weird?
Wait.
Yeah, like why would you walk around?
But you're
looking
not
like
going
a
as a serial killer. You're going as a serial killer from a Netflix production, so it's different.
But it was a real guy.
You have to go as.
Wait, so you think it's like unethical?
I just think
Or
it's
like-
confusing to the public. Like, why would you want to dress up like a serial killer? I don't know.
Well, that's the point
without
of
even
Halloween,
it being
is
a
it not?
costume. Well, it's not even a costume. He has glasses on and a bloodied shirt. Like anybody
Well,
can
it's
look
not a
like
lot of
that and
effort.
blend in with like actual serial killers. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I know that Jeffrey Dahmer didn't have an iPhone 15 Plus.
That's right.
That is true.
And then the COVID-19 or pandemic-related costumes. Could you be like a twerking nurse? Like a TikTok
You
nurse?
could go as a TikTok nurse.
Yeah.
And that would be a pretty easy one to do. All you need is scrubs and bad dance moves.
And
I got one of
just
those.
a flagrant disregard for the value of human life.
Exactly.
It's easy.
Exactly. It would be fantastic.
Or I guess you could dress up as a microbe.
Yes.
Like you could be.
Oh gosh.
Well, that would
COVID,
actually
but,
be kind
like,
of interesting because you have to put work into the costume.
It's dated. Like 2021 was the year for that.
Yeah.
If anything, transphobic costumes.
I
What does
want-
this mean?
Case
Like
of Jabber
Plague.
any cross-dressing whatsoever?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So
There was a weird amount of cross-dressing at the Halloween party last year. Not gonna lie.
so I can't.
Made me uncomfortable.
It was definitely. I don't remember who it was, but somebody.
It's like all the guys show up.
Literally all the guys.
a
were
woman,
cross-dressing.
a woman at this company went as Kyle Rittenhouse, and it was dead on.
It was great.
It was
Okay,
dead on.
one woman who's cross-dressing versus 3 guys.
But that's the only one
who
I
are
remember.
It
cross-dressing.
didn't even occur to me that a woman dressing up as a boy is like cross-dressing.
It's
I
not
didn't think
as
about it
much.
like that.
Well, it's an
like
actual
that.
person, so technically
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly as
So
Frowned
does that make it
extreme,
okay?
you know, like
then if a girl goes as Jeffrey Dahmer, then that's okay because
It's a double
a girl
whammy.
wearing
Double
cargo pants and
Yeah.
a t-shirt isn't the same thing as a guy wearing a red dress and lipstick,
yeah.
right? And
more
high
effort.
heels. Yeah,
More
it's
effort that
different.
goes
It's
into
different.
one.
Okay. Okay, zombie versions of dead celebrities. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Is that a thing?
That is
Like-
such a good idea.
Zombie Amy Winehouse. Maybe you could be
it.
zombie Amy Winehouse.
I have the hair.
Nice.
Do the
That would be cool.
beehive and add some prosthetic makeup,
Yeah.
and then you're set.
Just overdo the eyeliner.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
way
in
too
bad
much.
taste, but like, why would someone be offended by this? And then you can't dress up as a homeless person.
Unhomed. Sorry.
Sorry, unhoused.
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 You're not allowed to call.
You never
them
heard that
homeless people.
before?
Were a lot of people
Not supposed to
dressing
call
up
them
as
anymore.
homeless
Freedom
people
of
in the
speech,
first
baby.
place?
I mean, I look like a homeless person most of the time, anyways,
Right.
so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I wear the same thing every day.
Yeah, like what is that? Like if you wear a beanie, like
Yeah.
are you
Suddenly,
doesn't set oh
Gloves with the fingers cut
now
off.
people are touching.
Is dressing up as Tiffany Gomez
oh, that's gonna,
problematic?
I was thinking
no,
that.
but that's gonna be big this year.
I
Yeah.
know it
Oh, yeah.
is.
The ladies are gonna be.
But like, I aim to never have a publicized mental breakdown. If I did, I don't know how I would feel about people memeing me into a Halloween costume like that. That would be a little uncomfortable.
So here are some of the. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Going as Taylor Swift is going to be big this year. You got to be tall to do that, apparently.
Okay, that doesn't make sense because if you don't look like Taylor Swift, you're just gonna look like a girl in a dress.
Yeah. Well, they're saying specifically this from the Eras tour. the
Yeah,
things
there's
she's
nothing
wearing.
like unique about her that she does.
Carmi from The Bear. You like The Bear. You watch The Bear.
Not enough people have watched The Bear. You're literally just wearing a white t-shirt and an apron. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Wednesday.
That's gonna be big.
That's a good one.
Yep. Wednesday will
That's
be
always
big.
been a good one though, even before the show came out.
Well,
Yeah.
they're gonna specifically dress up as the
And you have to-
modern version of Wednesday Addams.
And you have to do the dance. You have to do that. Did you see? Did you see the video that I posted the other day of the lady? She's like she's a what do they call it? Like at the airport, the person who
With the
does
orange cones?
yeah, what is that?
I don't know. Somebody help.
The
What is that called?
Wait, what?
Ground control, like the
Ground
person,
control?
like ground control person who's got like the
Flight director?
the flight, like, but it's like doing the dance
Yeah.
with this.
Oh my
And then
God.
it cuts to a guy's plane crashing. It's like I can't. Where am I supposed to go? It's amazing. It's amazing. So Wednesday will be big. Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Daisy. There you
Fun.
go for the kids.
You have
So-
to be the butch version of Peach now.
Yeah, you can't be the hot version.
That would be
of,
hilarious.
Wait, is Princess Peach hot?
I have no idea.
I just know that they changed the shape of her lips. They didn't want her to have like plump lips anymore.
Wonder why that
They
is.
redesigned
What
her
are they like
face.
thin little like?
They thinned out her lips, literally. Yeah, they
Weird.
redesigned it.
weird.
Maverick
Isn't it?
from Top Gun, which would be a fairly easy one to do.
Uh-huh.
Bomber jackets, jeans,
Aviators.
Sunglasses,
Aviators.
yeah,
obviously.
aviators.
motorcycle. If you're really into it, and you want to show up in the middle of at the end of October on a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
And then Daphne from Bridgerton.
Never
Bridgerton
heard
already
of it.
looks like it's full of Halloween costumes. It looked terribly done, like very cheap.
Yep.
Not good.
Elvis. I thought wouldn't that be problematic given all the stuff that's coming out now considered about Elvis?
Yeah, you're gonna.
Isn't
dress
that
up
problematic now?
as a PDF?
You're gonna
file?
go as
no.
groomer Elvis. That's,
Oh, because he married a 14-year-old or met her when she was
so
14 or
you
something.
know, is that problematic, or is that we have like different lines as to what's considered problematic now? Like, are you allowed to go as Michael Jackson?
I want to see
That's a joke. Yeah.
Donald and Melania costumes,
There you go.
but is anyone tall enough
No.
for that? You'll have to be on stilts.
Andrew Tate, is he going to be all over the
Yellowstone costumes.
Like, what? Wait, the Andrew Tate one would just be like what, a bald cap,
Oh my gosh.
Gold
sunglasses.
chains,
and,
It's
like,
perfect if
Pizza
you're already
box.
bald.
yes. And then you've got like you've got the chinos with no
Oh yeah,
socks and
pizza
the-
box is a
gray
great
suit.
Yes.
little like accessory.
And then
And
you
a
could
robe.
go with like, and that's the thing, and you go with somebody who goes as Greta Thunberg.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You and Greta and Tate go together.
Yes.
To,
How dare you?
that
She
would
was
be-
arrested recently, guys. Did you know that?
What?
Oh, again?
Yeah.
Really?
She looks very satisfied with herself in the
She-
picture.
I bet.
That would
She has
be,
too much fun.
Arrested for her activism.
Totally non-planned arrest.
Yeah.
Totally not.
And then so there's like I still think that there's the most popular ones here from USA Today say Barbie, like these are general costumes, princess, Spider-Man, witch, fairy, Wednesday Addams, dinosaur, cowboy, ninja, and bunny. I went as a ninja every year. If I wasn't a ninja, I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, which is just an offshoot of
Same
ninja.
difference.
Yeah.
Every year it was a sword. There was always a sword.
You ever do
Wouldn't people
Superman?
dress up as Megan, the killer?
Ooh,
Oh, that'd be a
doll?
good
That's a
one.
good
Good one
year?
too.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
I still don't
And,
understand why that movie didn't come out in October.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a lot. I mean, like a lot of the horror movie ones, like somebody will go as wait, wouldn't that be blasphemous for somebody to go as the nun? Or
I would.
That would be bad. You don't
Yeah.
want that. Yeah, there's I like how they have the popular costumes for couples and babies: Mario and Luigi, Barbie and Ken, Bonnie and Clyde, Lilo and Stitch, the Addams Family, Toy Story, all of these.
Barbie and Ken baby costumes would
Oh
be
my gosh.
so cute.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people can go to this year, but I just think that it's a shame because it was always better when this is kind of more on the offs, an extension of the conversation we had about Love Actually, or what we were talking about earlier, which is like, look, the sensitive nature of society has ruined the creativity for some people, but it's just forced other people to be more creative in other ways. Carter loves Halloween.
Yep.
We'll have to have Carter on when he gets
Yeah, you should.
I don't know what his costume will be this year, but he loves
You guys
Halloween
should try to see if
costumes.
you could get the Mothman of West Virginia on. I've heard Carter knows him.
His moth
Bigfoot.
costume last year was really good.
It
Yeah,
was. He spent
deserved
a
it.
lot of
Deserved the
time and
first
energy
place.
on it too.
I stand by that.
Yep.
Is it problematic to dress up as a cop? In this day and
You can
age?
go like that.
Yeah,
there's a
probably.
costume you go that you go as the cop and the other person goes as like a defund the police protester, and you go together to the party.
It's the only way to do it.
That's what you do for that.
Cop, and it looks like a Derek Chauvin, George Floyd couples costume.
That would be
That's
very
so
bad. That would be that's like the definition of problematic
Yeah.
right now. Like I don't like even now years on that's problematic. So I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's doing that outside of like the most like edgy.
Someone out there, someone
Edgy.
out there is doing it.
edgy person is doing that right there.
I guarantee you.
Who was it that I was talking?
Justin Trudeau is so excited right
Yes.
now. He's like, yes, another excuse to do blackface.
or you're Ralph Northam, where then you get to go as both blackface and as a Klan
Yeah,
member,
Ralph
and then you
Northam.
don't tell them which one you are.
Was Gavin Newsom ever exposed for having done
That's
blackface?
scary. You could go as Gavin Newsom.
Oh yeah,
All the like.
get a very nice toupee.
But his blackface would just be from like face planting onto the San Francisco streets and getting someone else's poop smeared all over your face. That's what the blackface would be.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, no, it happens. I've
What did you dress up as growing up? Like what was
Oh
your most
man, I love the
common?
witch. Love doing the witch. Yep,
Multiple times.
multiple times.
Went
That was
back
like my
Wait,
go-to.
I thought you were gonna dress up as a fairy or something.
This year I will.
Okay,
I'm thinking
yeah.
I'll do a elf fairy or something like that.
What
but-
else? What else
That's
have you gone
cool.
as?
Oh man, I'd like a biker chick. Not much, I guess.
I loved the
I
costume
appreciate
last
like
year.
not getting
was fun.
super
Oh, yeah, the troll
creative
doll.
with it.
Yeah.
I was a troll doll last year.
That's awesome.
I remember that. That was,
Do you
that
remember
was cool.
that? That was
Sarah?
ridiculous.
It's really good.
What do you go? What have
The
you,
ears make sense on your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, the ears were great, and the nose, the cardboard nose. I have gone as I think like a zombie bride, a vampire. Trying to think of what else I've done. I think I've done vampire a few times, and like maybe Snow White a couple times.
Somebody could go as Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood together.
Ooh.
That
That's
would
a
be
good
cool.
one.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, or what's the other chick you used to date, like the pinup girl with the brown hair?
Oh, I know who you're talking
Dita
about.
Von
but-
Teese?
Yeah, like he's
I could do that one.
He's been with or you could go as like Howard Stern and Selena. You remember like the story about Howard Stern saying all the awful stuff about
That's
Selena?
way,
yeah.
that's way too niche. Look, no costumes that require explanations. It's a bad idea.
There you go.
Howard
It's a
Stern
bad
would be
idea.
very easy to go as now because you just look
True.
old and have wavy hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So
Howard Stern or Weird Al?
Do you guys have plans this year? Do you have plans this year?
So every year on Halloween, I'm like, I'm not gonna dress up, and then the day comes, and I instantly regret not dressing up, not pre-planning, scramble to put something together. So actually, today you have inspired me to pick a celebrity and be a zombie celebrity.
Do you know
like
which one
easily-
yet?
I don't know which one yet.
I think
I gotta
that
think
Amy
about it.
Winehouse is a good one.
That would be a great one that most people could recognize.
What if you went
Yeah.
as like half Rachel Zegler Snow White and half Brett Cooper Snow White?
But how would you do that? Put
Be, like,
brown
slightly
makeup
more
on half
tan
your face?
on one
Yeah.
on
You
one
do
side.
like half of each.
We're trying to avoid blackface.
Weird.
We're trying to avoid that.
Weird.
Well, if I made one half of my face whiter.
Yes, so then
Can you do
you're
that?
technically not doing
Yeah,
anything
because you're
wrong.
already tan, so it works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I could do it.
I couldn't do that.
You would not be able to do that. You would not be able to do that. Yeah, it's good.
It's not fair, is it?
It is. It's not very fair. All right, guys. Before oh no, we got super chats. Let's go. With
Yes.
super chats there.
Derp Space 9 said seals are the mermaids of the canine world.
Is that true?
I guess so. DCNC said Dustin wants a crisis party.
I would love a third crisis party. We've had 2 days in a row with 3 crisis parties. Who am I to say that we shouldn't get 3 days in a row with 3 crisis parties? But just saying, that would be great.
King New Jersey said, Brett, I hated Friends too. The whole show was not funny. No one had jobs. All the friends were all perfect looking. One episode of Friends, the guys were drinking breast milk. The whole show was disgusting.
Is
that true?
There was something that I just watched recently of some celebrity who was talking about drinking his wife's breast milk.
Oh, wasn't it? Now I'm trying to think.
But I just read an article about that. I'm not Googling that. Sorry, I'm not doing that. But I just saw something about that recently.
Yeah, really
Friends
weird.
or The Office, though, if you had to choose.
It's The Office. Of course.
Office for sure.
I've never been a fan of The Office. If I had to choose, I would say Friends.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Friends, you know.
Wait, they really didn't have jobs.
They had jobs.
They
It's
had
just you never
jobs,
saw
they
them
just-
at work.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had jobs.
Interesting. DCNC said Joey doesn't share food. Ha 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 ha. Wait, is that one of the running jokes? Like Joey doesn't share food with people?
Not. I don't know.
I don't know. You're
You're
into Friends apparently.
Somebody in the
niche
chat
for
is
me.
Griffin Street Studios in the chat is catching up and says there are no male seamstresses. Brett, here's
That's not true.
Here's a fun story. Okay, so I was on
seamstress. Wait, what are you then?
You're a seamster.
Spinster.
Okay, so I was on tour once, right? Like we were driving through the Midwest, like it was a skating tour, right? And one of the things that was just really funny about it is like you're in a huge van with all of these, dudes that you skate with, and it's at that time, everyone's got their tight jeans and their ripped shirts, and it's the culture at the time. And you're listening to Pentagram, and you're in this van, right? And this is the funniest story ever. You're listening to like death metal, and then you look around the van. If you're like, say you're in the front seat, every single person there is sewing their pants. Like is like. Because you'd have to you had to bring your own pants in back then. Because it was very hard to find, if you wore tight pants, you didn't have them made for you back then. So you'd have to bring them in yourself.
So you had literal knitting circles.
Yeah, like literally like death metal knitting circles where a bunch of dudes who knew how to sew were all sewing separately, quietly.
That's hilarious.
In like a van on tour. So there are male seamstresses. I'm not good at it, but I had one friend who would bring in all my jeans for me because he was so good at it. Like,
wow.
Because when I did it, they'd end up re-ripping. I wasn't good enough at it. He could do it, and they would never re-rip.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Skill set.
Tacti Pilates said, thank you for being nice to me, Brett, even though I am Anon.
You're not Anon. Here's a sad story. Like, after hearing that term for like a year, or however long that term has been around, Anon, like one day it just kind of hit me. I'm like, oh, anonymous.
What did you think about, like a non-human?
I just never thought. I literally I'm just so brain dead. I just didn't think. I didn't think about it. And then one day I heard somebody say it, and I'm like, yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. Sad.
200 Watt Studio said, I'm just saying that if you can have a TV priest that killed his wife IRL, then Kat can be baptized.
Okay then. All right.
Not sure I follow, but okay. Derp Space 9 said Netflix can't get paid by me if I don't subscribe.
And the funny thing is, I was looking at those numbers earlier. So like one of the things that these streaming service that the union is trying to that we talked about is like they want 57 cents per subscriber to go to actors, and for Netflix that came to like $844 an actor. Just from Netflix.
They don't want it to go to actors. They want it to go to the actors union.
And that's what's crazy. Is like somebody's like, but it's not going to go to the actors. It's going to go to the freaking union.
Yeah.
Where it will then just be used to lobby politicians.
It'll be used for the salaries of people who work for the union.
Possibly, because then if it gets dissolved later down the line, like where does all that money go?
And that's just Netflix. And that's not including all the other streaming services, ones that are a lot less successful than Netflix.
Yeah. DCNC said OC trying to shill the after party on Discord, promising
Live mocha.
What?
I don't know why that would be a selling point. Derpy cat isn't a selling point for me personally, but that's just me, guys.
Speaking of which, I loved the Sphinx cat, the hairless cat that Kat Von D had.
Yeah,
it was actually
the
kind of
same
cute.
one she's had. She's had that cat forever.
I also wanted to point out that I ran an experiment today on the show. Me and Mary talk a lot about how people in the chat are eagle-eyed. They catch everything that happens. I switched hats in the middle of the show, and I was just wondering if anybody would catch it. I did not see anybody catch it in the chat. So
wait, you did that just to test them?
I wanted to see if anybody was going to notice it. I did it between segments 1 and 2.
Like on camera?
No, I switched to Mary's shot. I switched hats, and then you guys didn't even notice.
No, I didn't even notice.
I literally didn't notice.
I think I was. So I switched
for that moment.
You were looking right at
was I here? So I switched.
You hoodwinked us.
I switched from my Seattle Mariners light colored camo to my Twins light colored camo.
That's kind of crazy that I didn't know. That's like the experiment where they're all dribbling the ball and then a gorilla just walks through the room. Like we had no idea.
I was wondering if anybody was gonna catch it, and nobody catch it. To be fair, like maybe if the show was in like full screen mode like this more frequently, maybe it would have been more noticeable. Maybe. But yes,
you just blew my mind.
I just thought I would share that with everyone. I thought that was it was worth it. Wait, no. So Big Diggle says he noticed it. Did you say anything though? I didn't see it. Now they're saying you switched hats. It's a hat.
Too late to notice now.
It was a hat trick.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Shane H. Wilder said, I want to dress up as an indicted ham sandwich.
Oh my God.
Somebody says, I'm sorry. Somebody says the hats are too similar, Brett. That's the point. It had to be
paying attention.
What is he going to put on? Like a giant, like,
a clown hat?
Like one with a propeller on it. Like, I wonder if anyone will notice.
By the way, I'm going to end the poll now so people don't yell at me for forgetting about it, which I usually do. Or they say I do. And it says, who is the bigger comic book hero, Batman or Spider-Man? And the answer is, with 64%, Batman. I always suspected.
I agree.
Though I think Spider-Man does as well as he does because the kids like Spider-Man. Like he sells really well.
He's popular with the Gen Z.
Yeah.
200 Watt Studio said, I'm going to Halloween as Ocean Gate.
See? There you go.
As the submarine itself?
That's
like one of the people that died in it. Or the gaming controller that they were using to operate it.
Oh my God. If somebody just goes as the Logitech controller, that would be ridiculous. I kind of love that idea.
I hate it.
It's just you're just a humongous walking controller.
Oh gosh.
That doesn't. And then like what it is.
I would not talk to that person at the party.
And like
sorry.
And then you're just like, hey, push my buttons, and none of the buttons work. So it's perfect. It's just like what you'd expect.
Derp Space 9 said ninja is the most popular Halloween costume for women in Saudi Arabia. Thank you. You've been great. I'll be here all week.
That's funny. Oh wait. Okay.
Got it.
Yep. Dreamcast Night said Zombie Amy and Heath Ledger used Tic Tacs and juice.
Zombie Heath Ledger would be like Zombie Joker.
Mm-hmm. So many great ideas.
Yeah, that's creative.
So many you can do.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said Death Metal Knitting Circle would be a good band name.
Yes! It's totally there. I love it.
Yorishima Otaru said it's called a tailor, Brett.
Okay. Well, there you go. Seamstress, tailor. What separates seamstress from tailor? Is a seamstress a separate thing?
I think tailor can be females too.
Yeah, I think they fix like the hemming, and then a seamstress actually like seams things together.
Yeah.
Is that right? Does that sound good?
Okay.
Beyond me.
Beyond me.
All right. You say.
Guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, and would you subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already? Thank you very much for that. Turn the notification bell on so that you can be notified anytime a new live stream goes live or anytime a new segment goes up. All right, guys. Cara, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. You can find me behind the computer. Members at timcast.com if you have any questions on your account or need to let me know something. I'm here.
Or if you have complaints.
Got any complaints?
Any funny complaints lately?
Not really funny, but pretty concerning ones. You know.
Okay.
Well, that wasn't as lighthearted as I expected it to be. But we got one more here from Carnell. He says, from now on, if I see anyone dressed as a cowboy for Halloween, I'm going to insist on calling them Alec Baldwin.
Ooh.
There
Oh
you
boy.
go. You could do that. Yeah, if you were to go as Alec Baldwin and as like a director of photography, that wouldn't be good. Don't do that, guys. All right, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, so check us out on Casper.com. We have a new flavor coming out, a limited edition flavor called Re-Rise with Roberto Jr. In honor of Halloween and in honor of the late, great Roberto Jr. Other than that, we still got pumpkin spice and all that other good stuff. You can check us out on X or Twitter at Casper Coffee, Instagram Casper_coffee. You can follow me on Twitter at Lady Sells Coffee. If you find my personal accounts, nothing personal towards you, I won't follow or accept your follow requests. Just an FYI. And last thing, I also wanted to announce Chris Poole and our other Sara Noble, the OG Sara, will be doing a gaming channel. It's coming out soon, so go over and sub. It's youtube.com/@gamermaids, spelled GAMERMAIDS. People will be featured on there, guests. I don't really know how to play video games, so you can watch me try and fail and try to learn, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Perfect. And I have included the link for the channel in the description of this video, guys. So,
Thank you.
All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. All right, guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Twix and Instagram at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen rather than watch this podcast, which I know some of you do, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show. Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.